the electronic device explosions. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Arrested again. Radar is clear, but it's cloudy. 63 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:02. A cop already in trouble with the law is back in jail again. Kamal Bola, who is already on leave from Indianapolis Metro Police, is accused of molesting a child. He was released from jail last week, but on Tuesday he was spotted near a children's school bus stop in Avon. He's now been arrested for violating a protection order.
Oh, it just hit something big. It's hitting a lot of stuff.
Oh my God. It's a big one.
Video of a tornado that hit northern Indiana Tuesday afternoon. The twister confirmed to have hit LaGrange, Noble, and Steuben counties, where so far at least 3 people were hurt.
It looks like some of the damage is pretty significant with some structural damage and some tree damage.
Megan Dodson with the National Weather Service. Jay County schools are still recovering from tornadoes that hit Jay, Randolph, and Delaware counties on Sunday.
Folks that are working on the roof, like on our own homes, we've got to get this roof secure, and there's big holes up there where that tornado did so much damage.
Superintendent Jeremy Gully on Wish TV, that at the junior-senior high school. He says homecoming is still on as planned this Friday, despite students being on e-learning until next Monday. Guilty is the plea from a woman claiming to be supermom in Muncie. Jake McDaniel.
Trisha K. Kavanaugh was sentenced to 14 years in prison for the death of her 4-month-old daughter after admitting to neglect of a dependent. She took drugs before breastfeeding her baby and falling asleep beside her, but she later died at the hospital. Child Services warned her in the past about the dangers of co-sleeping. Kavanaugh called herself a supermom during sentencing, and the judge was very doubtful. Jake McDaniel, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The season is on the line tonight for the Indiana Fever. They face the Connecticut Sun in Game 2 of their best-of-3 opening round playoff series.
We know we're capable of beating this team because we have done it. Obviously, they're really, really good, and we know it'll be a challenge, but I don't think it's anything, we're shying away from. I think you just embrace the challenge.
That's Caitlin Clark. Tip-off at 7:30 tonight. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Bear.
Finally, crash clear southbound 69 and 465. The crash that was partially blocking the exit ramp to southbound 465. It's gone. And traffic is still jammed, though, from East 82nd Street back to 116th Street. Jammed in those exit lanes to I-465. Should be clearing out before too long. If you're at the back of the line, so sorry, should be moving here. Hopefully before too long. Also looking at northbound 465, east side slow from Penn Pike up to 75th. Traffic sponsored by Indeed.com. Make the hiring process work for you with Indeed's end-to-end hiring solution. You can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Start at Indeed.com/credit. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
The hot summer and the hot deals are coming at Tom Roush Lincoln. 0% for 60 months is back. Get 0% APR for 60 months on every new 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Plus, get an additional $4,000 off MSRP. You can also take $3,000 off every new 2024 Lincoln Corsair 70 available. So get in here for one of those hot summer deals at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
To well-qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock number L24401. MSRP 107,425. Stock number L24284. MSRP is 43,435. See dealer for complete details.
Truck drivers, it's time to drive for a company that values your time. At Midwest Logistics Systems, you'll get home every day and have a predictable Monday through Friday schedule with occasional Saturdays. Plus, you'll enjoy the convenience of driving out and back routes and hauling no-touch, mostly drop-and-hook freight. MLS drivers also earn performance and safety bonuses and have access to a comprehensive benefits package. Explore our selection of local dedicated driving jobs and apply today at MidwestLogisticsSystems.com.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Family Heating and Air, your American Standard air dealer in Indianapolis.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Some patchy fog this morning, otherwise mostly cloudy skies, a high of 75. Should be quiet tonight, mostly cloudy, a little cooler too. Overnight low right around 58. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
Thick cloud cover, it's a clear radar though, 63 on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, September 25th. It's 7 minutes after 9 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Coming up, we're going to talk about that roundtable that happened in front of Congress yesterday on American health and nutrition, some startling facts and discoveries on American food and health. But before we get to that, let's talk about this poll that came out yesterday showing that Donald Trump is leading Kamala Harris among Teamsters union members in all 50 states.
So this is fascinating to me. So the Teamsters came out last week and announced, hey, we're not endorsing anyone, which was a de facto endorsement of Donald Trump because they were never going to endorse Donald Trump. And the fact that they said, we're not going to put our resources, our organization, et cetera, behind Kamala Harris was a gigantic win for Donald Trump. And it was done in large part because of that internal poll that the Teamsters, the rank and file, were insistent get out that showed Trump overwhelmingly winning the rank and file vote. And what happened, I mean, it's pretty clear. The leadership basically said, we think Kamala Harris is a complete idiot, and we're not sold on her to the point where we're willing to, with this overwhelming of support for the other guy, to rattle the cage of the rank and file, so we will simply stay out of it. And then the response, what was interesting was the response. So all these local, state, chapters, whatever, go, well, we're behind her, and they rush out and endorse. And now it's come out in every single state in the union, up to and including California, that the Teamsters themselves, the actual polling of the Teamsters inside the rank and file in every single state in the union. It's unbelievable. California, New York, all of them, all supported Donald Trump.
It's amazing how big the lead is in some of the swing states, too, like Michigan. It's 61-32. Pennsylvania, 65-31. Georgia, Arizona, Wisconsin, you mentioned even California. Donald Trump is winning compared to Kamala Harris, and I think, is this a blue-collar revolution we're seeing?
Well, and this is the fascinating question, because we've talked about before how winning elections, unless you have one of these rare sort of events like Reagan in '84 or Obama in 2008, it's generally cobbling together coalitions. It's generally taking groups of people who, for various, even if they don't have points of commonality in why they're supporting you, they're supporting you. And we take this group of people, and we take this group of people, and we put them together, and we have enough votes to win the Electoral College. It's generally how elections are won. And so you do wonder what the actual, if this is a reflection of the electorate as a collective, and then if it is, people who traditionally vote Democrat are now voting for Trump. How, if the jelly beans are counted accurately, and this is the most important question, how, if the jelly beans are counted accurately, Trump could actually lose the election if this is an actual reflection of the electorate?
Well, I think it's definitely a sign that the working class is moving more towards Trump than the traditional Democrat candidate, Kamala Harris. So there was MSNBC was out doing interviews, and I thought this was interesting because they were talking to this young union worker. He's a Gen Z. So this isn't Gen X. Yeah, this isn't Boomer. This is a younger guy, and he's from Michigan, and he talks about why he is supporting Donald Trump over Kamala Harris.
Mostly just immigration.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? What about immigration have you been paying attention to?
There are thousands and thousands of illegal immigrants coming across the border every day, and the vice president has done minimal work to fix that. Based on what I've seen. So I'd like that to change.
So if young men are noticing, that means a lot of people are noticing.
Well, yeah, I mean, not to turn this into a South Park episode, but they're taking your jobs. They're driving down your wages. And I think that's a big part of why, like, the Teamsters are saying, hey, we're for Trump, because they recognize that they are next, right? Like this is, it's not even, because the argument that the people on the left will make is, well, there's all these jobs Americans won't fill, and we need illegal immigrants to take these jobs. I mean, that's, first of all, ludicrous. There are ways to come into this country. There are ways to know who's here. There's ways to go through the process that if you want a job and you want to be a part of American society, that you assimilate in a proper manner into the culture. But the bigger issue is the driving down of the wages of the existing American worker. And it only makes sense that if we're going to be hard on these trade deals that are one-sided and drive down the wage of the American worker, that we would do the most basic of stuff, which is to police who comes into this country and how and what they intend to do here. And I come back to this conversation. I know we talked about it a lot over the past couple of weeks that I had a while ago with a very prominent superintendent here in central Indiana. So again, not a conservative, probably not even a Republican, don't know the party affiliation, but this person is definitely, hey, big money, big government for school systems. And this person told me, they said there is a major crisis in central Indiana right now. It's not just happening in the community that he oversees the schools for. It's happening everywhere where these migrants or whatever you want to call them, many of these people obviously are in the country legally. They're the TPS people or whatever, like we're seeing in Springfield, and they are living 3 or 4 or 5 families to a house. They are flooding the school systems. They're not paying property tax that is anywhere close to equal to the services that they're using. And you are seeing communities in central Indiana overrun with these people from these various countries that are being, in this case, legally let into the country. And it's like everybody's asleep at the switch or everybody's too afraid to say something. And this came from a school person who's basically super liberal.
I think it shows that Donald Trump is earning the trust of some of these workers. He's standing up to these trade deals and talking about taking on China, defending their industry, which is critical to American livelihoods. But speaking about more immigration, that seems to be really resonating with voters now. Here's somebody from Pennsylvania talking about why she is going to vote for Donald Trump.
There's just so many people, and there's just not enough resources. There's not enough jobs. There's not enough homes.
She's glad Trump, who she supports, has been calling attention to Charleroi and Springfield.
People need to know that it's just not Springfield. This is coming to a town near you.
What is coming to a town near you?
Haitians or immigrants that have poured over the border within the last couple years.
Why is that a bad thing, given the fact that some would say the United States is a nation of immigrants?
They're not coming here to assimilate with us. They're coming here to take over.
And isn't that exactly? They're not coming to assimilate to the American way. They want us to change to their culture.
Look, I think if people are being honest with themselves, and again, there's a difference between somebody who goes through the actual immigration process.
Legally.
Right, absolutely. There's a huge difference from somebody who goes through that long process and appreciates it and loves this country. This is not an ist or a phobe thing. It's not a fear of people from other countries being here. It's that if you go to your local Walmart, if you have a Walmart in central Indiana and you look at it in your community, there's a great chance it looks markedly different than it looked 10 years ago. And it is predominantly, in many cases, people who are under these statuses who have not actually gone through the process of becoming United States citizens, who are in this country and who are making the country more like the place that they came from rather than the place that they came to. And that is, don't kid yourself. 100% by design. Remember, you were not here yet, Casey, but in the very early days of the Biden presidency, when the immigration stuff was, I mean, it's totally out of control now, but it was like on this crazy level of out of control. He holds some press conference about this, and he starts in the press conference telling these parents who are sending their kids what the kids are supposed to say on the telephone when they get apprehended to make sure they can stay in the country. They want the people in the country. Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, was talking about this at length about how now Biden is just flying people into the country to avoid the border apprehension so they can drive the number down. This was done by design. This is the takeover of America. The Democrats are wholly invested in having as many of these people here as they possibly can because they will, A, be totally dependent upon government service, and B, they will be a reliable generation of Democrat voters that the Republicans will never be able to undo. I mean, this is it, right? If you get 4 more years of Kamala, dunzo. Adios.
It's going to look a whole lot different in just a few more years.
Hey, by the way, John in the YouTube chat asked, why is Destiny Wells obsessed with you, Rob? Saw a crazy tweet from her yesterday. We're going to get to Destiny Wells coming up at 9:30.
Okay, with Jim Merrill when he joins.
Yeah, so we'll deal with Destiny's very bizarre obsession with fighting with media personalities than actually running a campaign.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
We assume that you have one of those kind of soaking tubs.
Oh, you're talking about like up at the Coco Motel. The Kokomo there.
The Coco Motel?
Yep.
Please tell me there's a real place called the Coco Motel.
There is, yeah. I don't know if it's still there or not, but it used to be.
How was I not notified?
How have you not stayed there?
The Coco Motel?
Yeah.
Do you ever wonder how we're still on the air?
No.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Does your job require you to be on your feet all day? Teachers, postal carriers, salespeople, and restaurant staff. Many of us need our feet to get through the day. Hi, it's Phoebe with the Good Feet Store, and I'd like you to hear from Donna. She's a nurse and a real Good Feet Store customer who wanted to share her story.
Oh, I have to tell you, I have struggled with pain in my feet. I was diagnosed with plantar fasciitis. With the 3-step program, it really fits to your lifestyle. I work in a hospital. I'm a registered nurse, so being on my feet, walking throughout the hospital during the day, I am free from any type of pain. And after working a 12-hour shift, I go home and my feet do not hurt.
Whether you're a nurse like Donna or anyone wanting to enjoy work without your feet getting in the way, come see us at the Good Feet Store. We're located in Castleton by the Fashion Mall or in Greenwood, just off the 65. Learn more at goodfeet.com. Good Feet Arch supports are HSA and FSA eligible. Book an appointment for your free personalized fitting at goodfeet.com or just stop in. Walk-ins are welcome. Helping people live pain-free, 2 feet at a time.
As summer fades and the cool breeze of fall sets in, it's the perfect time to get back to the basics, especially when it comes to your financial future. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe in simplifying your retirement plan. Our team of advisors help you build a customized retirement strategy that is designed to help reduce risk, increase income, and mitigate tax. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your plan, we're here to guide you every step of the way. It's never too early or too late to make sure your financial future is secure. Text BASICS to 888-494-5004 to download your complimentary retirement planning toolkit today. That's BASICS to 888-494-5004. Howard Bailey Financial. Back to the basics. Forward to your future. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
My husband, Bob, has Parkinson's, and he needs more help now, and I need more support to help him. Thanks to Indiana Pathways for Aging, we're getting the support we need to help him right here at home, like with meal prep and basic personal care, and even respite support for me.
Pathways provides Hoosier Medicaid members, age 60 and over, support for care their way, so they can live life their way. To learn more, eligible members call 87-PATHWAY-4 or visit in.gov/pathways.
You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer. At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
For all your home's heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and drain needs, remember the man for all seasons. Chapman. Drain cleanings right now, only $89. Schedule online today at chapmanheating.com. That's chapmanheating.com.
Are these uncertain times making you nervous? Give Family Heating and Air a call, 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
You seem to be very fit and in shape, healthy. I'm curious, what's your daily workout look like?
Thank you for noticing, first of all. Now, are we talking like over the course of my life, like, because there was a difference between single Rob and taken Rob with different workout regimes.
Let's do current Rob.
Current Rob. Well, my goal at this point, I mean, I'm happily taken, and I foresee that for the remainder of my days. So generally, it is just let's face it, I'm kind of half-assing it now. I mean, as most married men are like nodding along with me. I do feel like, I have no idea what's going on internally, but I feel like externally, I'm somewhat well-preserved. I'm not an age in reverse person, but compared to like...
You're not like a Phil Sanchez.
Or Nathan, Pastor Nathan, right? Tom Brady type of people. But I do feel like for 40 years old, at least externally, I've maintained, some of my...
Your youthful glow.
My glow, right? I generally now, I put about an hour in with like 20-pound weights. Now, the hour is probably because I get distracted on my phone for a little bit. I could probably do it in 45 if I didn't have any distractions. A lot of, some biceps, get on the floor, do some, would look like presses, do push-ups.
Some marine push-ups, clap in the middle.
What are the triceps?
Yeah.
And then I do, because my wife likes to walk with Livy, I do walk quite a bit. A lot of times in the evening. I mean, this is not high intensity. We're just leisurely strolling, but I'll probably put 2 miles in walking around.
You get your heart rate going, maybe a little sweat.
Now,
right?
I would say, there's photographic evidence of this. At various times when I was not taken, I've been a big fatty in my life. And
a little doughy.
And I've been a real skinny, good-looking fella in my life. And like when I was putting the work in, I mean, it's amazing. Diet is so much of it, though. I mean, diet is people who are really into working out will tell you, people who are into, let me rephrase that, who are into like nutrition and health will tell you that a good diet can make up for a whole bunch of not exercising. I mean, if you just are willing to eat right, and the older I get, the more I kind of see that, man, what we put into our body is every bit, if not more important than how much exercise you're actually doing.
Calories in, calories out. We should have Jen Floyd, our Olympian friend, on the show to give everybody some pointers. The reason I bring it up is because a new report came out, and it found out that 40% of U.S. adults were obese between 2021
what number?
And 2023. 40%. Obese. Yeah. They had a high BMI.
Yeah. That's body mass index.
Correct.
Now, I don't know, like, there are people who are technically obese under that body mass index thing, and you look at that person, you go, they're not obese. I think that thing is a little jaded, that scale. Like, there's lots of people who would be technically obese, who you would say, that person might be a little heavy, but they're not.
Not obese, but they consider obese. It's not what you consider obese.
There are a lot of really well-fed people in our society, though, Casey.
Yep, and it's up from, decades ago, and it's been putting a highlight on all of the health issues that are going on in America. Of course, when you're overweight, it leads to things like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure. And there was this roundtable yesterday in front of Congress on American health and nutrition. And they had a lot of people speaking. And one of them was fitness and nutrition guru Jillian Michaels. She gave a speech before Congress, and she called it an epidemic of chronic diseases. And she linked it back to obesity and said that it's impacting multiple generations of Americans. In fact, when she was done speaking, she got a standing ovation. And she describes this as an extinction-level event.
In the late 70s and the early 80s, a sinister series of events converged to change food and subsequently health in America indefinitely. A plague that crept like a fog while we slept, literally and figuratively, blindly trusting that the powers that be would never betray us. I mean, it seemed unthinkable to question whether a corporation would poison us for profit. I mean, the widespread assumption, at least when I was a kid, was that they were acting on our behalf. They wanted to make food, more affordable and more convenient. But it was this betrayal of trust that allowed them to insidiously infiltrate every part of our lives. Home-cooked meals became fast food value meals. Libraries and bookstores with no food or drink policies installed cafes selling 500-calorie coffee drinks and pastries. Eggs became heart disease cholesterol bombs, and Honey Nut Cheerios got labeled heart healthy. The default human condition in the 21st century is obese by design. Specific, traceable forms of what's referred to as structural violence are created by the catastrophic quartet of big farming, big food, big pharma, and big insurance. They systematically corrupt every institution of trust, which has led to the global spread of obesity and disease.
Okay, so in 2020, approximately 71 million Americans aged 50 and older had at least one chronic disease. And by 2050, that number is projected to be doubled, increasing more than 99% to reach 143 million. And the big thing that they were railing against were what they call UPFs, which are these ultra-processed foods, and the coloring that is in American food, but it's not elsewhere.
Well, and this really started in the 1970s under Richard Nixon, when they basically began what became the gutting of the importance placed on the family farm in this country. And big farming became big business, and that was sort of the beginning of all of this, where maybe even the best of intention, which is we got all these people to feed, we got to figure out how to do it. But then they started doing it in a manner that was not beneficial to the populace at large. I would also like to say, at one point in my very fit existence, I tried to start doing the Jillian Michaels workouts, and they are
hard.
They're awful. Like, she is just screaming at you the whole time.
Yeah.
And it was like, because I'm trying to up my game, and I thought, man, I can do this. And I only did it like once or twice. And I was like, no, I mean, if I'm going to be screamed at, it's not going to be by some woman on the television.
Mike Braun was there, and he was taking on the CEO of Novo Nordisk, which is a company that sells Ozempic. They sell Ozempic in Australia for $87 because there's all sorts of restrictions there. Americans pay over $600 for it. It's just incredible. It's drawing the point that our healthcare industry is really a confusing maze, and we need a lot more transparency and reform. And that is something that our Senator Mike Braun has said will be a goal of his when he becomes governor of Indiana.
All right, so let's take a break. When we come back, Merritt's going to be with us. We're going to talk about what just a horrible, horrible couple days it's been for our old pal, on-demand abortion advocate Destiny Wells, and how that piece Briggs did in the Star yesterday. I mean, look, he and I don't agree on abortion, but he was spot on what a total loser it is for the Democrats and what a total loser it was for her, and how I basically won the war.
Okay, Jim Merritt's up next on 93 WIBC.
Fall in India is great, but don't spend it painting. Do what your neighbor Don did. He called Rhino Shield.
Well, the home was built in 1948. Paint on the aluminum siding was peeling, and I couldn't find anyone who would repaint it until I called Rhino Shield.
Rhino Shield's better than paint, and the crew
Painted all my aluminum siding, and I've got a front porch that runs the whole length of the house, and all the pillars, and once they were gone, I couldn't even tell that they were there.
And right now, Indy, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price. Plus, there's more great news. Rhino Shield has partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer affordable monthly payments with 0% interest loans to qualified customers.
Well, I've told a lot of people, do the Rhino Shield. It's really a great product, and that would be the way to go.
And here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
Call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint. Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Bracing for impact. It's 64 and cloudy on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Thousands of Florida residents are being ordered to evacuate ahead of a tropical storm. Helene is expected to become a hurricane today and would be the fourth hurricane to make landfall in the U.S. when it hits Florida's Gulf Coast, probably late Thursday. Indiana Task Force 1 has already been activated by FEMA to head that way. The president of Ukraine is visiting President Biden tomorrow and will be delivering a victory plan. Fox's Jared Halpern.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is hand-delivering his victory blueprint when he visits with President Biden at the White House Thursday. The proposal is expected to include some long-desired asks from Ukraine's leader, including eventual NATO membership and fewer restrictions on long-range strikes inside Russian territory. Speaking at the United Nations this week, President Biden urged allies to continue supporting Ukraine and not grow weary or look away. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Coca-Cola is discontinuing its spiced flavor just 6 months after its release. According to a statement from Coke, it's looking to introduce a new flavor instead next year. Coca-Cola initially introduced the spiced flavor as a permanent addition to the shelves. It didn't give a reason for the walkback. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. Some slight declines to start the day. The Dow was off 16 at the opening bell to 42,583. The NASDAQ down 25 to 20,142. And the S&P 500 is down 1.5 to 5,790. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it. We specialize in helping the self-employed and people just like you that need affordable health insurance to get it. We have short and long-term health insurance plans, and some even cover dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Don't take a risk with your family's health insurance. It's not worth it. If you're self-employed or now need affordable health insurance, call right now and learn for free how to get it. Listen, affordable health insurance plans for everyone just like you are a free phone call away. So give us a shout right now.
800-659-7540. 800-659-7540. 800-659-7540. That's 800-659-7540.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
As our loved ones age, ensuring their safety at home becomes a top priority. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. I'll be right back with some practical things you can do to reduce the possibility of a fall or injury.
At Cardon Senior Living Communities, you'll find our teams share a commitment to enhancing the lifestyle and well-being of the people we serve every day at every stage of life.
Removing tripping hazards such as rugs and floor clutter is one way to prevent or minimize falls around the home. Another is to position grab bars in the restroom and other common areas where your loved one may need some extra support. Contact your local area agency on aging to inquire about low-cost or free installation services. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Consumer warning. Stay away from stablecoin Tether. Tether is a cryptocurrency company with a so-called stablecoin called USDT. It's supposed to be backed one for one by the US dollar. But Tether's murky past exposes Americans to outsized risk, shady practices, false claims, legal entanglements, deliberate lack of transparency. The United Nations called Tether the preferred choice for regional cyber fraud operations and money launderers. Tether has never published an independent audit of its finances and operations. Financial rating company S&P gave Tether a high-risk rating, a major red flag. Warning: owning a stablecoin that isn't independently audited comes with enormous risk. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Steer clear of stablecoin Tether. Visit tetherwarning.com to learn more. Paid for by Consumers Research.
Well, they just never learn.
They don't.
It's Kendall Casey debate. It's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC. I'm Rob. Casey's here. Look who it is. You know him from 30 years in the Indiana Senate. The great Jim Merritt. Hello.
Robert.
I thought you're just the perfect person to have this conversation with because all the crap I get for being your friend. See, I think it's interesting. You get a bunch of crap for being my friend. I get a bunch of crap for being your friend. I say this about Jim Merritt. Jim Merritt knew how to win himself some elections.
Hey.
And all those years in the Senate, undefeated, You had primary elections. You had general elections. You just kept having your hand raised at the end of the bout. And I said, that's the name of the game.
It is the name of the game. And it wasn't easy because District 31 in 1990 was a lot different than District 31 in 2020. But, you have to be consistent in politics. And that's what I did and I tried to do on all issues. And these days, when you're talking about the abortion issue, you've got to tell people exactly how you feel, and it's incredible, Robert, to me that people aren't talking about issues these days. And when Destiny stepped in it, you took care of her.
Did you know we're number one? Have you heard we're number one?
I've heard we're number one.
And
this.
It's you. You can say we. You're part of the team. You're part of the family.
Me.
Yeah. You're carrying the load. And so one of the reasons we're number one is we present radio because of my background, my experience, in ways that people don't hear it anywhere else. And we lift the veil back on.
Well, it's a truth teller.
Right. We lift the veil
back.
back.
The debate. Property taxes, now the life issue.
And we're going to tell you how we do this. And we're going to tell you about these politicians here. And you are just the perfect guy to have this conversation with because these politicians, I've said this for years and years and years, and it's one of the reasons I had to get out of it, are some of the most narcissistic, biggest egomaniacs I've ever seen in my entire life. And if you know that, then you know how to deal with them effectively. And you're right. Whether it's been property taxes or now this abortion conversation, I've gone to my playbook, and it has worked to perfection because these people are just like straight, whether it's Destiny Wells or the people who run for governor on the property tax, like they're just straight out of central casting. And Briggs had that article in IndyStar. Casey and I talked about it yesterday. James Briggs, who's a friend of the show, and look, Briggs and I don't agree on a lot of things politically, but I thought his piece was spot on from the standpoint of he basically said this between the spat between myself and the on-demand abortion advocate Destiny Wells, which is Rob wins this conversation about abortion because you refuse to define what your position on abortion is, in large part because you're beholden to complete crazy people on the left who are now the base of the Democrat Party who don't want any restrictions whatsoever on abortion. And because you're so afraid of those people, maybe you do want restrictions on abortion, and maybe your position is more mainstream than Rob's totally pro-life position, but you can't have that conversation, so he wins by default because if people got to choose between being totally pro-life or abortion at 9 months, they're choosing Rob. And I thought, look, Briggs and I probably don't agree on the abortion issue, but he's right. These Democrats are so beholden to crazy people, and then they try to engage on a topic in which they're beholden to crazy people, and you're never going to win that conversation.
Well, the interesting part about this for me is, number one, the law is not going to change.
Right.
The legislature was with 150 members. It's about 140 member Republicans. I mean,
that's right.
The supermajorities are not going back to this issue. So it's not a good issue for Democrats because they're not going to have success on this. But number two, it's ink by the barrel.
Right.
You cannot fight with the media, and also if you're going to be pro-choice or pro-abortion, you've got to be clear on exactly how you feel because you'll be painted with that brush that these late partial birth abortions it's the rage, and we learned from the Trump debate that when the media, when the ABC tried to correct and Trump with that fetuses can be born alive or can be aborted alive, 8 states.
Yeah.
Research has come back that Trump was right.
Yeah.
So it's blurred right now.
Yeah. So and look, Destiny Wells is going to get smoked against Todd Rokita.
Yes.
Just like she got smoked against Diego Morales.
Yes.
For all this huffing and puffing about how well she did in Carmel, she ain't running for the mayor of Carmel.
No.
She's running for attorney general for the state of Indiana. And
a red state.
A red state where she is digging her own grave, which is a pro-life red state. Now, is everybody as pro-life as Rob Kendall? No. Probably not. But they ain't on-demand abortion people.
Right.
And when you're bragging about a poll that comes out, which, we now know that poll was complete crap, but you're bragging about, oh, abortion is the number one issue. And you're photographing yourself like you have just met the Rolling Stones with that abortion doctor who performed that abortion on that little 10-year-old girl and then went bragging to the media about it, of which she got in trouble with the medical licensing board. You have now made abortion and your love of abortion the central issue of your campaign, which is just a free pass for me. Remember at the Showbiz Pizza, the whack-a-mole game where the thing would pop up and you'd whack it down?
Yeah.
Like, you have just given me a free pass to play whack-a-mole with you. Then, because Destiny Wells is more interested in trying to be some sort of celebrity in the Democrat Party rather than engaging in good campaigning, she spends her days on Twitter getting fed by these lunatic people, many of them who don't even live in our state and can't vote for her, and by fighting with me and Tony Katz and Dan Dockich. And it's like, lady, you are literally just hanging your own campaign at this point, and you don't either see it or care, which is amazing.
Not only that, this campaign is barren with issues,
right?
And so she's sitting there with on a tree limb with no leaves on it,
right?
And there's just it dominated the point of a campaign where people are starting to vote, or going to start to vote in a week or so, and this is probably the last issue that people really want to hear about. And when they do, and they're conservative, it just concretes in. If she gets 40% of the vote, I would be really surprised, because the baseline in Indiana is 43 to 45% Democrat, and you hope for those late breaking libertarians to put you over 50%. It's just not going to happen this year.
Yeah, and I hate this. And one of the reasons I win this argument is because I'm not a fan of Rokita. Like, nobody can say Rob's doing this to help Rokita.
No.
Like, people know the history with me and Rokita. And I told somebody this yesterday. I said, just because I'm pointing out how extreme she is doesn't mean I'm supporting the other guy. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that is bad in this case is I don't think Rokita's good at the job. I'd love to see some mainstream normal person who says, my job is to be the chief law enforcement officer for the state of Indiana. I'm going to uphold all the laws, whether I like them or not. You're not going to know what my opinion on the law is, because my job is to uphold it, defend it, and the Constitution. Nobody believes that Destiny Wells would uphold Indiana's abortion law. No. Nobody believes that for a second. She's a total advocate. She's a total partisan. And people are like, well, screw that. Then I'm going to vote for Rokita because he may be a doofus, but politically, he's way more aligned with me than she is. So if I'm going to get an advocate in that position that I don't want, might as well get the advocate I agree with.
Absolutely. And you know, also, one thing that we don't talk enough, and your show is driving the debate right now, is people are so unhappy with politics, and you want people to vote. But I think a lot of people will stay home this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think people will. There's a lot of hate voting that's going to go on, right? And that's not a good way to vote.
Against something rather than for something.
So I want to, and you're the best guy to have this conversation with. Jim Merritt's with us. We did this in State House Happenings, and I thought I'm going to pull the veil back here for just a second and give some life advice to these candidates, because they don't seem to get it. And I think a big part of it is they're so used to being surrounded by people who kiss their backside, tell them how great they are, because either they're just in love with politics or they want something or whatever. And we talk back, right? We don't like any of these people. We don't want to be the friends. We don't want to hang out with them, et cetera. So our only beholden is to our audience, right, to give them the truth. If you're a political candidate, unless your name is Donald Trump, and you start fighting with the radio broadcaster, the newspaper guy. I mean, they all turned on Briggs yesterday, which is hilarious. Briggs is super liberal, and they all started coming at him. It's like, he's your friend. Or the television guy, you're going to lose. You're going to lose because I come in and talk every day, and I talk to a way bigger audience than you're going to reach in your campaign. And so part of the arrangement in our society is, as an elected person, you get to lord over people. And part of the arrangement then is I, as the broadcaster, get to tell as many people as I want how much you suck at your job. Like, well, that's the deal, right?
Also, though, for those candidates and those office holders, my suggestion is be clear, be concise, and kind of be quiet.
Right.
And if you're going to speak out on an issue, know everything, 110% of that issue, and be able to defend it. And I think that's what happens with individuals who are in the political world, is that they don't know 100%, and they don't know how to respond to negativity and questions. And so they either are very, very quiet or they make mistakes.
I'm going to frame you however I want to frame you because that's my right as having this position. That's what I do. I talk about things that are interesting to me and I give my opinions on things. I'm going to do that whether you participate with me or not. Mm-hmm. And your participation is only going to make the job easier for me.
Yeah.
Whether it's Jim Lucas or any of these people who have tried to get in a fight with me, Merritt, has it ended well for any of them?
Well, the way I sharpen myself in politics is I would go knock on that door, and face the music if somebody was upset with me.
Right.
And I really sharpened because I was willing to listen and learn, but also defend myself. And a lot of people are cowards that try to contact a public official because they have a one-off, and the public official, if they went and talked with that individual, would be able to set them straight or at least inform them of what's going on.
Life advice, it's what we do here. Thought you were the perfect guy to have this conversation with. What are you doing? What's going on with you?
Oh, Mayor of the Morning's going to have Doug Carter from the state police.
He's a big fan of mine. You should definitely make sure have a lot of conversation about us.
On Thursday, we're going to be at Moondrops.
Oh, the distillery.
Mark Presley's outlet out in Fortville, and going to be really interested in whiskey.
I love it.
Merritt in the Morning.
Find it on Facebook, YouTube, Merritt in the Morning, Jim, _ Merritt on Twitter. You're the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Tonight on the Tony Kinnacast, crime is up, crime is down. Actually, no, wait, it's steady. Illegal immigration is good and bad and good and bad again. Are you dizzy yet? Good, because we just adjusted our own job numbers yet again. Tune in at 7 p.m. right here on the Daily Signals YouTube and X live streams or the podcast anytime.
Are you concerned about rising property taxes? My name is Donald Rainwater, Libertarian candidate for governor. My plan would limit your property taxes to 1% of the purchase price of your property. It would never increase, and it would end once you've paid for 7 years. To learn more about my plan to make Indiana government less taxing, go to rainwaterforindiana.com and watch the televised gubernatorial debates this October. My name is Donald Rainwater, and I approve this message, paid for by Rainwater for Indiana.
The hot summer and the hot deals are coming at Tom Roush Lincoln. 0% for 60 months is back. Get 0% APR for 60 months on every new 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Plus, get an additional $4,000 off MSRP. You can also take $3,000 off every new 2024 Lincoln Corsair 70 available. So get in here for one of those hot summer deals at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
For well-qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock number L24401. MSRP 107,425. Stock number L24284. MSRP is 43,435. See dealer for complete details.
The clock is ticking. Diamonds Direct's ultimate offer is almost over. Until September 30th, you can get 5 years of 0% financing on any purchase. It's the perfect chance for worry-free shopping with no interest and monthly payments customized for you. And now open Sunday, September 29th. Take advantage of this amazing opportunity. From luxury timepieces to engagement rings and more. Don't wait. Spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest on approved credit. Only until September 30th. For details and more, visit DiamondsDirect.com.
It's all in the numbers with Window Nation. They installed over 200,000 windows last year. That's 40 times more than the average window company. Over 20,000 online positive reviews. Do you know how hard it is to get a positive review online?
Buy 2 windows, get 2 for free. 0 down, 0 interest for 24 months. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. 866-90-NATION. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Truck drivers, it's time to drive for a company that values your time. At Midwest Logistics Systems, you'll get home every day and have a predictable Monday through Friday schedule with occasional Saturdays. Plus, you'll enjoy the convenience of driving out and back routes and hauling no-touch, mostly drop-and-hook freight. MLS drivers also earn performance and safety bonuses and have access to a comprehensive benefits package. Explore our selection of local dedicated driving jobs and apply today at MidwestLogisticsSystems.com.
Rampant crime, crumbling roads, unaffordable housing, open borders, and high inflation. That's Andre Carson's record after 16 years in Congress. Have you had enough yet? It's time for John Schmitz, an Indy native who's working for safe streets, an end to inflation, and a bright future for Indy.
John Schmitz has the experience, creativity, and energy to tackle the issues holding back Indianapolis. Help make Schmitz happen. Vote John Schmitz for Congress. Learn more at johnschmitzforcongress.com. I'm John Schmitz. I approve this message paid for by Schmitz for Indiana.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Head to the WIBC contest page and enter for your chance to win 2 tickets to see Trans-Siberian Orchestra's brand new show on Thursday, December 19th at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. And while supplies last, you can purchase tickets for just $49.99 plus fees.
So he was the Super Bowl champion, NFL MVP 3 times, All-Pro. He had the most consecutive starts, 321, former NFL quarterback, Brett Favre.
Brett Favre strikes me both in appearance and attitude as a sort of man that would have been very appealing to you.
Well, sure. Until recently.
Yeah. Although, now allegedly, I don't know, has it ever been actually proven? He sent that allegedly picture of his junk to that woman when he was on the Jets. That probably should have been a red flag about what sort of dude Brett Favre actually was.
Right.
I don't know.
Because women like to get that unsolicited.
The unsolicited junk pic, which is never a good idea.
Well, at a congressional hearing yesterday, which was about welfare fraud and abuse, he said that he was recently diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
Okay, this really bothered me yesterday because what Brett Favre is alleged to have done in Mississippi related to him getting all of this money for speeches he didn't give. They call them TANF funds there, TANF. It's basically welfare funds from the state of Mississippi. And then he solicited money for a volleyball court where at the Mississippi State, I think where his daughter played. And then he was able to solicit money for a drug company or a drug manufacturer
that he was tied to,
that he was an investment agent in.
Yeah,
he has been sued, I believe, for this, and then supposedly, he's for some reason then he's asked to testify in front of Congress. But these Republicans were like softball and stuff to him, and then one publication I saw afterwards said he was signing jerseys for people after the what are we doing here?
So the entire point of it was supposed to be welfare fraud and abuse, and yet they've got this NFL star that they're all enamored with,
who it appears committed welfare fraud and
he's
abuse.
one of 43 defendants in a $90 million lawsuit.
Yeah, I mean the guy gave money back once he got caught. There's text messages that appear incredibly damaging. Now, this has been going on for years, and there's been no prosecution of him, so maybe it doesn't rise to the level of criminality. I don't know. But the guy's a complete greaseball. And the fact that he waited until he was in front of Congress
to announce that he had Parkinson's.
Right.
So
Come on.
Is that just a thinly veiled attempt to distract from the real issue?
We all know what again, this is the same guy who allegedly sent an unsolicited picture of his unit. Now, this was not even in the iPhone days. I think it was off a flip phone or something. I mean, this is the kind of guy we're dealing with. And I'm sorry that if he does indeed have that, would you really put it past Brett Favre to maybe embellish the truth on something? I mean, the stuff he's alleged to have done. I'm not saying he may very well have it, and if he does, I feel horrible for him. But the fact that you're waiting until you're in front of Congress to make that announcement to the world, give me a break.
He said that he had no idea where the money came from, but yet there were text messages showing otherwise.
Pallets of cash showing up on my front door.
How do I hide this from the media?
I mean, he said that in one of the text messages,
I know, right? He did. It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC. Good morning.
There's no substitute for experience, and that's especially true when we're talking about teenagers learning to drive. You teach them the basics, but what about those things drivers don't encounter every day? Hey, I'm Matt Bear, here to tell you about Rule the Road Indiana. It's a hands-on experience at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway just for teenage drivers that provides practical knowledge and skills that go beyond regular driver education programs. So, for instance, a controlled braking course and evasive maneuvering course where young drivers learn how to maintain control while avoiding collisions. It is taught by police officers and professional driving instructors. Saturday, September 28th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and it's free. All you need to do is sign up at ruletheroadindiana.com. Lunch is provided, and American medal-winning swimmer Ryan Murphy and IndyCar driver Stingray Robb and defending two-time Indy 500 champ Joseph Newgarden will be on hand signing autographs. Rule the Road, Indiana, brought to you free by Alliance Highway Safety, September 28th at IMS. Register now at ruletheroadindiana.com.
Discover cancer care that empowers you at Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center, with leading-edge treatment options right in your backyard.
I feel blessed and lucky. If I knew someone that was going through what I was going through, I would definitely encourage them to participate in a clinical trial. For me, it was life-changing.
Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
Hey, this is Malia. We often get asked when is the best time to buy, and the answer is today, not tomorrow. With rising utility costs, rising product costs, and missed opportunity costs, which you could be saving with a high-efficiency system. Give us a call today to schedule your free in-depth estimate, 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Ugh, I've been feeling so sluggish and just kind of blah. Been there. That's why I take Align yogurt-coated probiotic fruit bites. But I suppose they taste blah. Actually, they taste delicious. It's an apple blueberry flavored center covered in a yogurt coating and is infused with probiotics to help support a healthy gut. They come 5 in a pouch. I just toss one in my bag and go. Toss one in my bag? Get your own.
New Align yogurt-coated probiotic fruit bites from the makers of the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Find them in the digestive care aisle.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today. Today.
What is 988? It's a way forward. It's a listening ear. It's whatever help you need when you need it. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline offers trained crisis specialists ready to talk to you 24/7. If you or someone you love is experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis in their life, call or text 988. Want more information? Visit 988indiana.org.
Is your pet a digging enthusiast, an escape artist, or a counter surfer? Invisible Fence brand has you covered. For the wannabe landscaper, we've got a solution to keep them active but not destructive. For the escape artist, our personalized pet fences keep them safe and sound at home. Counter surfer? No problem. We know how to keep cheese thieves at bay. Invisible Fence brand. Tailor-made solutions for your pet, your yard, and your needs. Visit invisiblefence.com today.
Coming up in 2 minutes, he's already been arrested once. Well, now he's been arrested again. Plus, more tornadoes hit parts of northern Indiana overnight. And what your Congress member talked about in a House committee hearing on Tuesday. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers Studios after Fox News Radio on 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Coverage, communication, and coordination. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. A Senate Homeland Security report finds all were lacking at the rally in Pennsylvania where former President Trump was shot in July. It finds no one was clearly in charge. Requests for additional Secret Service assets were denied, and Trump should have been kept off stage because of a suspicious person who turned out to be the gunman. The former president, meantime, is told Iran's government wants him dead.
In a statement, the Trump campaign confirmed that former President Trump was briefed by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, quote, regarding real and specific threats from Iran to assassinate him in an effort to destabilize and sow chaos in the United States. It goes on to say that intel officials said the threats have heightened in the past few months. In a social media post, the former president said Iran had made, quote, big threats on his life and thanked Congress for the bipartisan approval of more money for his Secret Service protection.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. Tropical storm Helene is getting stronger, expected to make landfall along Florida's west coast tomorrow night as a major hurricane.
Law enforcement there is hoping people listen to calls to evacuate beginning today, because once the water rises, deputies stay indoors. Mike Pendergast is the Citrus County Sheriff.
We simply don't have enough first responder assets to get out and rescue folks once that water comes in.
In Miami, Evan Brown, Fox News.
Overnight, a passenger on a bus in Los Angeles is shot and killed by a man who then hijacked the bus, holding the driver at gunpoint. There was a chase and then a standoff.
The suspect is in custody, and the investigation is ongoing.
LAPD Commander Donald Graham there. No word on a motive for the shooting or the hijacking. Stocks start the day mixed on Wall Street. The Dow is down 97 points. The S&P is up 4. The NASDAQ is up 50 points. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Taken back to jail. Radar is clear. It is cloudy and 65 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. An Indy cop accused of child molesting has been arrested again. Kamal Bola was released from jail last week after he posted bail, but on Tuesday, he was spotted violating a protection order in Avon near a bus stop for kids in a neighborhood there. Witnesses called police, and he was arrested soon after. A tornado touched down in Noble, LaGrange, and Steuben counties on Tuesday.
It's a little bit easier when you have a video because that kind of rules out the was it straight line winds or a tornado, and so you can go right to how strong was the tornado.
Megan Dodson with the National Weather Service, she says that they got several videos of tornadoes which damaged several homes and even a chicken processing plant in Ligonier. Now she says they plan to figure out how strong the tornadoes were. At least 3 people were hurt. Was there foul play? Sasha Nixon reports on the arrest of Riker Earl in Jasper, who died in police custody earlier this month.
Attorney Benjamin Crump claims that law enforcement officials handcuffed Earl and pinned him to the floor. But while the Jasper County Sheriff notes they did handcuff the man, he argues that they did not hinder his breathing. Crump is asking police to release the body cam video of the incident. The sheriff believes fictitious claims about this case are intended to help Earl's family benefit in court and sway the community's belief. Sasha Nixon, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A House committee voted to hold Secretary of State Antony Blinken in contempt of Congress yesterday for refusing to respond to subpoenas for information related to the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Throughout the committee's entire investigation into the withdrawal, Secretary Blinken and the U.S. State Department repeatedly obstructed, delayed, and refused to comply with the legitimate oversight inquiry.
Indiana Congressman Jim Baird, who supported the contempt vote, Baird lambasted Blinken for hiding at the UN General Assembly in New York this week. Do or die for the Indiana Fever. They face the Connecticut Sun in Game 2 of their WNBA playoff series tonight. The Fever have to win to force a decisive Game 3 in Indianapolis. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
After college, Mike Braun could have gone anywhere. He chose to move back to his hometown of Jasper, Indiana. There, he started a small business, kept his head down, worked hard, and turned his small business into a national company, employing thousands of Hoosiers. He'll use that same determination for us. Lead the charge on lowering the price of gas, groceries, energy. Take on the big healthcare companies to increase healthcare access and lower costs. And Mike will improve education across our state by increasing school choice. Mike will make our streets safer, back the blue, and stop illegal immigration if the federal government won't. Because Braun believes every Hoosier should be safe and secure in their community. As governor, Braun will continue working for Hoosiers. Because when you're Mike, working hard is just what you do. Mike Braun, governor. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Family Heating and Air, your American Standard air dealer in Indianapolis.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have
No money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, September 25th. It's 5 minutes after 10. His name is Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. And later on, you'll be sequestering away from your family and binge watching a TV show.
Yeah. I mean, I'm prepared to just tell my wife, you will not see me for the next 6 hours.
Isn't that interesting that the Vince McMahon documentary dropped at 3 in the morning?
So this documentary, Netflix is anticipating, and I'll be like, oh, you're starting the hour with wrestling? This documentary was, I heard a report, this was the most expensive documentary Netflix has ever commissioned. And they are expecting that it will smash like all of the all-time records for most viewed thing on Netflix. And I think it's so fascinating because, like we talked about yesterday, there are so many people now with eyes of intrigue on this. First of all, there's people like me who grew up loving Vince McMahon's pro wrestling of the 1980s. Then there's the I've got to see a train wreck unfold in real time people. There's the business aspect of it. And then for some reason, I have no idea why, Vince McMahon came out yesterday, took some just unannounced shot at the documentary, basically saying, oh, it's lies and it's untrue.
Right.
And now people are like, well, now I got to see what
I want to see
I want to go watch before.
So each episode is 1 hour long and it's 6 parts?
It's 6 parts. Now, I was told, I got bad information. I was told that, I've never looked forward to watching something on Netflix like this. So it was never like, okay, it's on Netflix, I'll watch it whenever. But last night I was like, okay, like when does Netflix isn't like ABC where it comes on at 8 o'clock. So how does it work with Netflix? And I was told, hey, it'll drop at midnight.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, cool. I can stay up and at least see one. I know by the time I get through one, then I'll just end up watching all of them.
Yeah.
But then I found out, no, it has to be midnight on the West Coast. So it's 3:01 a.m. that it came out on the East Coast. All of the reviews of it are outstanding from the standpoint of the colossal train wreck that I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So now, as soon as I get done here, I've got to just sprint my way home.
Okay.
So if I can get home by 1, that means then basically at 7 p.m. then I can start, being a productive.
I can't believe you're going to devote that much time all in one day to the show.
Well, that's my intent. I don't know whether I'm going to pull that off or not.
Okay, so fair warning to your wife, your child, and your boss.
Well, I don't do
and
it.
I guess me.
Well, you do all the work between, when the show's over, so that doesn't really, affect anybody. But I'm so intrigued by this just because, like I said yesterday, I think Vince McMahon is on the Mount Rushmore of most interesting people who have ever lived in the history of this country. And what a complete fall from grace. The guy could end up in federal prison before it's all. He's already beat the federal government once and avoided going to federal prison. Who'd have thought at darn near 80 years old he'd be back doing it again? I'm all in, baby.
All right, well, we're going to expect a full report tomorrow. See how you lasted. Let's talk about Donald Trump. He's been making his pitch to bring jobs and manufacturing to the United States. He called for a 100% tariff on cars made in Mexico, all part of his manufacturing plan.
So I've heard Tony talk a lot about this, and he talks about the idea of the tariff as a tactic. And I think that's mostly what this is. I don't think it's realistic whether it's 200% tariff on John Deere or 100% on car manufacturing. I don't think that's probably realistic. And some, then you get the media, oh, Trump's, going to make everything cost so much more, blah, blah, blah. I heard that when he ran in 2016, and things seemed pretty reasonable until COVID hit.
Okay, now, about 2016, didn't he make all of those same promises or claims or threats, whatever you want to call it, against Carrier here in Indianapolis?
Well, right. So here's the reality of the situation, which is, unlike in his business world, he's not to an extent, although they keep making the president more and more like this, he's not a czar in the sense of he can't just, as Biden found out with student loans or making everybody get the vaccine or whatever, as long as the Supreme Court still has reasonable people on it, he can't just wave a magic wand and make things happen. But he can. Part of what Trump does well is he makes people who don't know enough believe he's nuts. And when he's dealing, whether it's foreign policy, the reason he was so successful in foreign policy, Kim Jong-un believed he was insane. And Kim Jong-un believed that dude would launch a missile at me at any given time, and thus Trump got way further than any other person. Israelis and Palestinians. Look at the success, the peace under Trump that has obviously been blown up under Biden. Palestinians believe, Hamas believes, Iran believes Trump's a crazy person, and that he uses that to his advantage in these negotiations, and that's why he was able to get some of these trade deals done that the society didn't crumble, right? We got more things that were coming back here, more things were being made here. And I think this speaks to a lot of people who are like, well, at least somebody wants to try.
Right. It may not actually happen, but the message is good. This is how you bring back jobs and boost manufacturing and
We don't
put
make
America
things here.
first.
We don't make things here
Right.
anymore. And the only time we make things here are when people like Todd Young give away $900 billion to these foreign corporations to bribe them to come here. Like we don't with the CHIPS Act. Like we don't just make things here anymore. We outsourced that in the 1990s under Bill Clinton, and it has really, really, really bit us in the backside. And at least, while Trump may not solve all of it, and look, through automation and things like that, clearly some jobs are not ever going to come back, but at least it's the idea that we should be producing things in this country. I think that's a good thing.
Okay, so there was the Quinnipiac poll came out, and it says Trump's leading 48-47, and there's going to be 3 major polls that drop today, straight out of Pennsylvania, like Mama's. So you had commented these polls are all over the place. Which one do we believe?
Well, so what's fascinating to me on this is the general theme through these polls, especially in the swing states, is she can't separate. She's had everything go right for her, and she cannot separate from Donald Trump. She has the media completely behind her.
You mean she can't separate from Joe Biden?
No, I mean, she cannot separate numbers-wise from Donald Trump.
Oh, okay.
All the polls are, 1, 2 in these swing states. She's ahead in most of the national polls, but not by an overwhelming margin. Trump's ahead in this Quinnipiac poll that just came out. And so to me, if you've had everything go right for you, and you have everybody behind you, and you can't distance yourself, then you can only come backwards, which she appears to be doing, the more she doesn't talk, because then when she does talk, and then it's like the more people see her, or then now they're catching on, like when we don't see her, why don't we? Why don't we see her? And you have to remember, Trump almost always performs 3 or 4 or 5 points ahead of his polls. And so by that standard, then he's probably ahead in a lot of these. I mean, he's got like a 5-point lead in most of these polls or more in Arizona, between 3 and 5 points. That's crazy to me. Look, I know people have been very critical of Trump for some of the things he's done, the eating the dogs thing or whatever, amongst other things. And this was the same way it was in 2016, and I ended up being right on that. I just feel like this has a lot of the same things happening in 24 that happened in 16. And I don't know, man. I just think he's doing better than a lot of people think he's doing.
You're getting the vibe. Okay, so
I could be totally wrong.
Yeah, the name Jamie Dimon has been tossed around as a possible Treasurer Secretary, right? And he has come out and said that it's all about the border.
We have to control the borders. We need more merit-based immigration. We need more seasonal immigration. We need more. DACA have a place here. We need a path to citizenship. If you do not control the borders, you are going to destroy our country. And so I think the people who think that somehow this is okay, so now they're sending the migrants into New York and stuff like that. So all of my super liberal friends, now they realize what a problem is. Did it have to be that? That we realize it. So we want to have a big heart for the world, but we have to control.
So he went on to say we have to control the border. So is that a...
So wait. Just so everybody knows who that is. He's the head honcho at Chase. Yeah, Jamie Dimon.
JP Morgan CEO.
Well, yeah, whatever. People know it as Chase, but I guess technically JP Morgan is the name. Here's what's going on in this country right now, and come back to that story we did at the top of the first hour, which is about the Teamsters and their endorsement. Nobody feels like anybody's looking out for them anymore. Like nobody feels like anybody's looking out for them. These politicians across the board, they don't care at all. Here's a great example of this. Yesterday we had that long conversation about what a disaster old mouthy Matt had at that city council meeting in Lebanon the other night, because he's trying to run these utility lines into unincorporated areas and didn't apparently tell anybody or let the county know, and the county blew a gasket, and these residents out there blew a gasket, and they had to, I guess, table the vote because there was just such outrage. And Victoria Spartz had come out and tweeted about the Leap District.
Yeah.
And somebody made a great point about this. Okay, good on Victoria Spartz. Where's Jim Baird? That's not Victoria Spartz district. That's Jim Baird's district. Why isn't Jim Baird standing up for the people of Lebanon? Why isn't Jim Baird standing up for the farmers? Why isn't Jim Baird standing up for the people who are having their way of life eradicated? You know why? Because Jim Baird is a total do-nothing, worthless partisan hack who would not dare offend Eric Holcomb. So Jim Baird is on the side of Eric Holcomb over the people. And this, I mean, you can take this on infinite issues and extrapolate it across the country. Nobody's looking out for the people anymore. These politicians are looking out for themselves, looking out for their buddies, they're looking out for their donors, the lobbyists. And with Trump, people say, okay, the guy's kind of wacky. He's a little over the top sometimes. He does things that you just want to like hit yourself in the head with a hammer sometimes. But at least he seems like he cares. At least he seems like he cares about me. At least he seems like he cares about this country. Because most of these politicians anymore, they don't seem like they care at all about the country and the people in it.
That's a really interesting point about Victoria Spartz. It's not even her district, and she's stepping in it.
Yeah, where's Jim Baird?
Yeah.
This is the heart of your district. You are a congressman.
Well, clearly he agrees with the crony capitalism.
Well, and what's crazy about, because you get these politicians, when they don't want to deal with something, they'll always do it. It's a so-and-so issue. So, like,
Right.
if it's the feds, it's a state issue, or if it's
They'll
a
say
state.
that's a city issue.
But the crazy thing is, they are tapping in with this ridiculous plan they have to give Lebanon up to $700 million in loans to facilitate water from citizens that is supposed to be for drinking water. And that money is backed up, made available by the federal government, which I don't know if Jim Baird knows this, but being a congressman means you're in charge of the federal government. So, no, it is right in his wheelhouse. It is right in his wheelhouse. But Jim Baird is a total crony stooge. He's trying to set it up for his loser state rep kid to get the seat when he retires. And so he's not going to offend anybody. He's not going to stand up for anybody. But my point is on all of this crap is happening all across this country, and people do not feel like any of these politicians, other than Donald Trump and maybe 5 others, give 2 damns about them.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC, and there's a fight brewing within the FCC. That's our territory, Rob. We're going to talk about what's going on with George Soros coming up on 93 WIBC.
Fingers in the door jam. Oh, damn. When stepping in it. And when the backup on 465 has you stuck.
Oh, Mom, just turn on the radio. Whoa. Sorry, Mom.
You know the backups and ways to avoid them. And you have no problem swearing.
Traffic makes Dad say much worse.
You'll be on time.
No surprise.
Matt Baird Traffic. Mornings and afternoons on 93 WIBC.
Moments like my daughter telling me a new joke mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib.
Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative NBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first, and then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Hey, what's up? It's Hammer from the Hammer and Nigel Show. You guys rocked it at our WIBC debate viewing party at 416 Wabash. That place is so cool. You guys were the stars of the show. And if you're looking for a place to have your next event, whether it's a wedding reception, class reunion, you name it, check out 416 Wabash. As a wedding DJ, I've played a lot of venues. And I got to tell you, 416 Wabash might be the coolest. 416wabash.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you. Hey, what's up? Hammer and Nigel here. We are both customers of Window Nation. Window Nation came out to the Hammer house. They measured everything multiple times. They got it right the first time. They were in, they were out, and now my house looks amazing, and my heating and air bill has gone down because of my awesome energy-efficient windows.
Yeah, Hammer, I had the same experience. Hey, you could buy 2 windows, get 2 free with 0 down and no interest for 24 months. 866-90Nation or windownation.com.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
Play me a song, Curtis Slow, Curtis Slow. Well, I got your drinking money.
Oh, I don't care about this song. You can say whatever you want. I was just trying to make Kev feel
You
good.
seemed like you were grooving to it there for a second.
I mean, look, we got to get into the George Soros thing. I'm just going to say, and this will be wildly unpopular. I've never, totally embraced the Leonard Skinner thing. It's just,
I know.
I mean,
know. But this one, nice choice, Kevin. Okay, so FCC, possibly not following their normal process for reviewing transactions. They've established this over a number of years, and now they seem to be fast-tracking George Soros' purchase of over 200 radio stations right before the election in November. So George Soros, billionaire Democrat donor, and he wants to gobble up a bunch of radio stations.
So George Soros is one of the richest people in the world. He has made his money devaluing the United States dollar, essentially betting and rigging the system against the United States. And look, he's a total left-wing lunatic. And I have wondered why people didn't do this for years on the left. Look, the left has tried talk radio and it's failed. It's never going to work. They've tried talk TV, and other than when Trump was president, it fails because their audience is, let's face it, our audience is fabulous. They're intellectually curious. They're smart people. They're engaged people. They challenge themselves with different views and worldviews. The left does not do that. That's why it always fails.
The interesting thing about this is that it would break the FCC's own rule, which prevents more than 25% foreign ownership of U.S. radio stations.
Okay, so Soros, to come back with this, Soros is, before we get into the meat of this, Soros is he's basically buying a company called Odyssey, right? And they have 200 radio stations across the country, which he would then
200 plus.
Yeah, he would acquire in a whole bunch of states. I don't know if they're here or not. I don't think they have any.
They used to be at one time, and then they sold.
Okay, so he's got he would then essentially take control of 200 radio stations, and the fear is that because money means nothing to him. I mean, he's so filthy rich that the money is irrelevant. I mean, it's like, remember when Urban One bought us and people were like, oh, that's it for WIBC. And we were like, no, these people like money and they ain't going to touch anything because we're a cash cow. And to their credit, Dion and the people who run this company have done a phenomenal job of saying, keep doing what you're doing. And Dion comes down once a month and gives us a big old pep talk and says, great job, thanks for all you're doing, and good luck. And look, WIBC's never been better, and look how it is. Because we're
number one.
We are number one.
Yeah.
Our audience is number one.
Our audience is, yeah.
But the point is, we're owned by a company that is driven to, it's the commercial spirit, right? It's capitalism. They're driven to make money, even if they don't necessarily agree with our political opinions. They like money more than politics, and we are very good, and thus our audience engages, our audience visits our advertisers, people advertise here. They've left us alone. George Soros is so rich, though, that the fear is he doesn't have to worry about that. Like, if he loses money, makes money, it is irrelevant to him. And so the fear is that many of these radio stations, which are the talk format stations, either are going to flip left, like kind of sort of like in the way Drudge, through a slow burn, went from the conservative hub of thought and reading to now it's liberal and very few people read it. They basically just took it off the market. Or he'll just take the radio stations, he'll flip the format and take them off the air altogether.
Well, we know that he has a clear political agenda, right? And he's not trying to foster this healthy political debate. Rather, monopolize the narrative, and he could flood local airwaves with all of his leftist propaganda. Let's talk about some of the markets that these radio stations are located. They reach 165 million Americans. So you're talking about WINS in New York, WBBM in Chicago, WWL in New Orleans. They've got PHT in Philadelphia, KMOX in St. Louis, CCO in Minneapolis, and KCBS in San Francisco. These are major markets.
Sure.
Where they could reach potentially a lot of ears.
But I pondered this for years, why somebody didn't do this quicker, which is you basically... Now, one of the things that has happened is a lot of the talk on the right is moved over into the podcast genre, and it's been a sort of a slow burn as well. So the damage he potentially could do today, thanks to the internet, is not the damage he could have done 10 or 15 years ago. But let's face it, he could. Look, people are not going to seek out liberal talk radio. There's a reason it fails every time they do it. He can put whatever he wants on there. It's not going to succeed. But if you don't need to make money, if you don't need it to work, just simply eliminating the free flow of thought may be his declared victory. Now, he could surprise everyone and just leave everything the way it is. Who knows what the guy's actually going to do? You ever bought a radio station, Casey?
No, but you have.
I have, and this is amazing to me. It normally is, and one of the major problems with our industry is we are still operating at a pace and around rules that were created when Orson Welles did the War of the Worlds broadcast in the 1940s. And I'm not kidding when I say that. I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
There are many, many rules and regulations in place that date back to the 1940s in order to prevent another War of the Worlds broadcast. And this industry, now we are one of the few who's cracked the code, right? But this industry has been decimated by being poorly governed, being behind the times, working at a snail's pace. It normally... It took me, when I bought my radio station, now this was, 16 years ago. It took me basically like 5 months, 4 months, a single AM radio station purchase in rural North Carolina. That's how long it took for that
to go through.
How is this moving quickly?
Well, that's the thing. The FCC seems to be bending the rules to help this guy. And they're skipping their normal review process.
Right.
And it should alarm everybody because these are your airwaves, actually. The license may be held by the companies, but the airwaves belong to the people. It's one of the reasons why they're free.
The other thing that's interesting and why this doesn't make any sense is the FCC has rules around how many radio stations or FCC-governed properties, I believe it is, you can own in an individual market.
With a combination of TV and radio.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they did that, and there's some merit to it to say we don't want one company taking over the public broadcasting
that would be monopolistic,
sphere.
and they can just push out one message.
And so if that's the goal, then you look at this and say, well, is it really of the public interest then if that's your goal, which I think, again, there's some merit to, and I've long thought that one guy gets to own 200 of them then. I mean, okay, so he's spreading them out across 50 states, right? If the goal is to prevent a monopolization of thought or ability to control markets, this guy now basically is controlling, or could potentially control in a large way, the entire country. So is that okay?
And just in case you're curious, his son, Alex, just tweeted out yesterday, honored to host Governor Tim Walz at my home in New York City.
Yeah. Oh, no, there's no doubt what team they're on. There's no doubt likely what he's going to do with these radio stations.
Yeah.
I just, the FCC has been such a...
They voted 3-2, by the way.
Well, it's 3 Democrats and 2
Republicans.
and then it'll flip depending on who's president, et cetera. But the FCC has been such a hindrance to our industry, and a lot of the major problems we have had is with the way the FCC governs this industry. And man, I'll tell you what, we'll keep chugging, right? Because our audience is the best. But I am worried about a lot of radio stations and a lot of talk radio stations in a lot of markets.
We've got your voicemails coming up next. It's 93 WIBC.
When you have a stuffy nose, life can be a bit unpleasant. Some live every day with a stuffy nose, and that can make life downright miserable. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula with Advent. where we are committed to eliminating your nasal breathing problems with simple in-office procedures like balloon sinuplasty, which requires no surgical cuts, little to no downtime, and can have you breathing better in less than 30 minutes. At Advent, we understand your inability to breathe freely limits your quality of life. And that's why we continue to pioneer the most advanced in-office procedures that have made our practice a global destination for those seeking to live their highest quality of life. Visit AdventKnows.com to see if you're a candidate for the balloon sinuplasty procedure. Because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary. 93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
What the report says. It's cloudy and 65 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. A Senate report finds that the Secret Service is facing numerous problems, keeping it from doing its job effectively. The 94-page report out today finds that a number of failures in security, planning, and communication, and all the above, directly contributed to the July assassination attempt against former President Trump at a Pennsylvania rally. More Israeli soldiers are being called up to fight in its war with Hezbollah. Fox's Jonathan Savage.
Israel's army says 2 reserve brigades are being sent to the north of the country for what it calls operational missions. It's been pounding the Lebanon-based militant group Hezbollah from the air for days, and there are indications of a potential ground war to push the Iran-backed fighters away from the border. The US is calling for a diplomatic solution and is concerned about a region-wide conflict. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
One of the WNBA's playoff semifinal matchups has been set, and it will be a rematch of last year's finals. The defending champion Las Vegas Aces will square off with the New York Liberty in the next round. The Indiana Fever will be taking on the Connecticut Sun tonight in Game 2 of their series. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Mortgage rates are down and creating more active buyers and sellers. If you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving prices down. Maximize your home sale now with the market expert who delivers maximum money in less time, Mark Dietl. Perhaps you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Dee and Andrew in Noblesville had to say about working with Mark Dietl. We were done with the rat race and ready to live the dream of buying a camper and traveling west. We needed top cash from our home to make the dream work. Thankfully, we hired Mark Dietl, who delivered big time. Our home sold for our asking price in 4 days on the market. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
Rampant crime, crumbling roads, unaffordable housing, open borders, and high inflation. That's Andre Carson's record after 16 years in Congress. Have you had enough yet? It's time for John Schmitz, an Indy native who's working for safe streets, an end to inflation, and a bright future for Indy. John Schmitz has the experience, creativity, and energy to tackle the issues holding back Indianapolis. Help make Schmitz happen. Vote John Schmitz for Congress. Learn more at johnschmitzforcongress.com. I'm John Schmitz. I approve this message, paid for by Schmitz for Indiana.
Research shows smoking costs Indiana businesses $3.1 billion every year. It also shows that an extra $2 per pack tax on cigarettes would drastically reduce smoking, which could save lives, create jobs, and infuse the state of Indiana with hundreds of millions of dollars annually. Read the reports from the Richard M. Fairbanks Foundation at thepriceofsmoking.org and see for yourself how an extra $2 per pack tax on cigarettes can have a positive impact on Hoosiers.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Celebrate a fun 50s weekend in Grant County, Indiana, September 26th through 29th. Cruise over to the Ducktail Run in Gas City and the James Dean Run in Fairmount, two of the Midwest's coolest classic car shows. Honor the era of hot cars and cool cats and celebrate where cool was born. Get details at showmegrantcounty.com. Grant County, Indiana, classic cool.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Any heating and air conditioning problem you've got, we can take care of you. 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatment at 317-559-PAIN.
317-684-8444. That is the phone number if you'd like to leave us a voicemail. We would love to hear from you. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Yesterday we were talking about the gas tax here in Indiana, one of the highest in the nation, and how the roads, although they claim that money is to go to fix the roads just don't seem to be fixed. And here's a phone call regarding that.
Hi, Kendall and Casey. Love you guys' show. Yesterday, you guys were talking a little bit about money for roads, gas tax, and all that stuff. Casey asked, where does the money go? Well, I don't know either. I had to take a trip out 70 east towards Richmond yesterday afternoon, and the roads are incredibly poor. They've been patched. It's not like there's holes in the road. Well, there are a few of that, but the patching that's been done is incredibly poor. It looks like you're driving on a piano, piano keys. It's mismatched. It's unlevel. It's about every 15, 20 feet for the most part. It's very rough. It could be almost dangerous, I think. So, yeah, it's terrible. Some of the highways are just incredibly poor shape. So, that kind of hit home when I drove out there, and I thought, well, I'm going to give Kendall and Casey a call and put that out there. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Love your show. Bye.
So, yeah. He was on the same patch of highway that I was on the other day.
And I think that's a big part of it is people don't mind paying for stuff if they feel they're getting good value for their money. And in the case of the roads in this state, they're not in good shape.
Nope.
And the taxes keep going up, and the taxes keep going up, and the taxes keep going up. And people look at the roads and they say I'm not seeing a corresponding
ROI.
Improvement in what I'm getting for my money. And I think that's why there's such outrage. If they did a good job with the roads, if the roads were better repaired, I think you'd see less consternation about having two taxes on gas. But it's just not, people are not feeling they're getting a bang for their buck.
I had this video come across one of my social media feeds. I think it was on Twitter, and it was a truck driver, and he was lamenting something like 87 miles through Indiana, and he had a dashboard cam, and it was just bobbing all over the place. And I thought, okay, is this guy from Indiana? And then I checked out his profile, and it turns out he's a long-haul truck driver, goes all over the country. But to his point, this is a guy who's experienced in driving the highways across the country, and he was saying the worst is here in Indiana.
One of the things that I hope Mike Braun will do, and as a business owner, I'm optimistic. Now, will he make it better to the level I want to see it? No. But there is so much waste and inefficiencies in our government at all levels in this state that I am hopeful that Mike Braun coming in and him flushing out, he's going to have to flush out the Holcomb people, which will be a chore. But hopefully with Micah in there as well, that they will flush these people out, and we will get back to the nuts and bolts of quality government, and those savings then hopefully will be able to be put towards, either one, giving it back to the people in an ideal world,
Infrastructure,
but at the very least, using it to the lives of the collective.
Yeah. Here's a phone call. We just talked about this, the George Soros radio deals that are going on. Somebody wanted to comment about that.
You're doing a great job there. Thank you to all of you, your producers, you and Rob, and everybody else connected with the show. It makes our morning complete hearing you guys. And please keep playing my comments because I enjoy being part of the show. And just a quick comment on that story. And you guys do mention it and all that. I hate to see what's going to happen to radio if FCC just goes ahead and rubber stamps all these liberal people taking over. That means that the liberals and the communists and Nazis and what have you are winning. And we still need free radio like you guys out there. Thank you. Take care. Hey, have a great morning. God bless you all. We'll see you.
Well, we're going to do the best we can for as long as we can, right?
Look, I'll keep showing up until the parking pass no longer works or the
Right.
direct deposit stops showing up.
Okay, somebody wanted to change directions on us, Rob. This one is about Mike Pence, so get ready.
So Trump just said at his rally that he's going to create an ambassador to travel around the world, convince companies to bring their manufacturing back to the United States. But isn't that Mike Pence's job? I mean, what else has he been doing the last 4 years? Because he doesn't spend very much time in Indiana. Or is this Mike Pence's next career after his political career in Indiana is over? Inquiring minds want to know.
There's no way that Donald Trump is going to have Mike Pence as part of his administration.
What could Mike Pence actually do if he had to work a real job? Like, seriously, what job would Mike Pence be qualified for?
Well, at one point, he sat in that very chair right there and hosted a talk show.
20 some years ago. Like, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at all the jobs he's had since he's been out of the government, it's all I'm a book deal. It's a think tank or a guest professor or a lecturer. I mean, what real job could Mike Pence actually do if he had to produce something to provide for his family?
He said Republicans have an opportunity to deliver a decisive victory this November, not only for our party, but for the entire country. So I guess he's still good at delivering that message.
How does that jive with his refusal to support Donald Trump? Like, how does that work then,
Yeah.
Mike? Like, what, Mr. Disingenuous, how
Yeah.
does that?
Isn't he talking out of both sides of his mouth?
He's talking out of both sides of something. I'm not sure it's his mouth, Casey.
All right, somebody wanted to call and give us an idea for a song. Actually, I believe this is for Hammer and Nigel Records.
Rob and Casey, just wanted to leave you guys an exclusive little track that hope you pass on to Hammer and Nigel. Here's the sample. Here it goes. Comma, 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 chameleon. She comes and goes. She comes and goes. She wants to take your guns, but she's gonna blow you away. If you break in her home, if you break in her home. So, Hammer and Nigel can build on that. I thought that was just a little good bass line, so hope you enjoyed. Bye.
I wonder if Hammer and Nigel are going to want to build on that. Kevin, we needed you to put a beat behind that.
Yeah, I could probably remix that. That
You
was
think
good.
so? Okay. So one last phone call until Hammer joins us. And this one is about employees getting raises.
Hey, Kendall and Casey. Love what you guys are doing for the community here in Indiana with your show. Informing a lot of us. If I heard correctly, that the state politicians are kind of vote on giving themselves a raise. In what situation, job, anywhere, do the employees get to vote on if they get a raise or not? I certainly can't. I'm sure you guys can't. You might be able to negotiate or, beg and plead, but shouldn't you think that the people should be, voting on, whether they get a raise or not? I know we vote them in and we vote them out, but I think we should be able to vote on something that they shouldn't have any control over, bettering their lives while everybody else is kind of in limbo or below limbo. So just thought I'd share my thoughts, and hopefully you guys will share my sentiment. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Well, they've already voted it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what happened, I mean, everybody scratched everybody's back. The state lawmakers gave themselves big raises, you may recall, and then they rewarded the statewide office holders who also be getting – this is where the whole there's no money to help you with property tax thing. I mean, again, it's just another example of what a joke this is. They had all that money, hundreds of thousands of dollars annually to give these people for raises. Your government going to get – and I love the argument. It's always – we must get better people to run for public office. I see this at the local level when these stooges give themselves raises. I see it at the state level when they give themselves raises. So what you're saying is, I'm so bad at my job that I've got to bribe somebody and pay them more somebody good to come in and clean up the mess that I did. But yet conveniently, the people who I guess admitted they're so bad at their job, you got to pay somebody more to come in and clean it up, keep staying in that job.
Mm-hmm. I think we should vote. He said, should we just vote to give ourselves raises?
I like that.
Yeah, let's vote.
Yeah.
All in favor of raises, raise your hand. There we go.
Kevin, to think about it. Have I really done a good job?
Unanimous. Hammer's going to join us next. It's 93 WIBC.
Oh, yeah. We are rolling this afternoon on the Hammer and Nigel show. Nobody has more fun on your afternoon drive home than we do. Give us a shot. Biggest stories of the day and some cheap laughs along the way. 3 o'clock, 93 WIBC.
Hey guys, it's Rob from my friends and family at Life Church. It's Wednesday. That means Sunday's going to be here before you know it. And this Sunday, if you're looking for a new church home or even a first church home or maybe just something a little bit different, check out Life Church. Many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church over the years. They're warm, they're welcoming, they treat you like so much more than just a number. You're an individual. See it for yourself. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Campuses all across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. Awesome online services. Learn more about everything at lifechurchin.com.
It's the start of our favorite season in Indy, football season. That's right. With all the hype and action this season brings, we know things can get loud and messy real quick. Before you invite your friends and family over to watch the big game, you better call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to clean up all those fumble moments in your home. Lucky for you, you can score big this month with great savings. Hi, this is Denny Smith, and you can get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at just $119. Take $75 off air duct cleaning too. The Zero Res service is easy to line up. You can go online at ZeroResIndy.com to do the scheduling at your convenience. Don't forget the ZR Water difference. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, leaving things really clean. Now mention WIBC, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at $119, plus you'll get $75 off air duct cleaning too. 317-388-5141. That's 317-388-5141. Book online at ZeroResIndy.com.
It's common knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism changes. We have less energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to RoundhouseProvisions.com, use code EASY, or text EASY to 511-511 and claim 40% off. RoundhouseProvisions.com, code EASY.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text EASY to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. And a thank you to our loyal customers for making our agency a national sales leader for the 7th straight year. We recently saved a family of 4 over $500 monthly when compared to their ACA plan. You know it's still Obamacare, right? We recently saved a 61-year-old retiring couple over $600 when compared to their COBRA plan. Breaking news. We are now able to offer health insurance to employer groups of all sizes with 2 of the largest insurers in the Midwest. We'll be here when you need us. Quoting my favorite president, what the heck do you have to lose? We can help. As always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
Call Ron or Terry at 317-563-0868. That's 317-563-0868. Or go to rragency.org. That's rragency.org. A health plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Truck drivers, it's time to drive for a company that values your time. At Midwest Logistics Systems, you'll get home every day and have a predictable Monday through Friday schedule with occasional Saturdays. Plus, you'll enjoy the convenience of driving out and back routes and hauling no-touch, mostly drop and hook freight. MLS drivers also earn performance and safety bonuses and have access to a comprehensive benefits package. Explore our selection of local dedicated driving jobs and apply today at MidwestLogisticsSystems.com.
Hey, it's Shane at Miss M's Home and Garden. Save 20 to 50% on all container trees and shrubs and 50% off pottery while supplies last. State Road 135 in Bargersville.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Going to the chapel and
From the number one rated Hammer and Nigel program, it is Jason Hammer in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning, and a happy number one rated to you as well for the Kendall and Casey show.
We have the best audience.
So, Rob and I have stated on this segment in the past, we would be great wedding guests if anybody has a wedding.
Absolutely.
We'd eat your food. We're going to drink your booze. We're going to have some laughs. We'll talk politics, sports. We'll get out on the dance floor. We'll do all the stuff, right? We're not going to go to the ceremony.
Yeah.
We're just going to go to the reception and be ringers.
Yeah, we're not putting in any effort to this. We're just going to party because you've been to so many weddings over the years, but like never as a guest, right?
Like I've worked over 500 weddings in my life as a DJ, and we thought it'd be fun if you and I just went as guests.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we encourage people, hey, if you want us to come to your wedding, and if we're free, we'd be more than happy to.
Now, we got several invites.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, for some of them, either you weren't free or I wasn't free or the drive was just too far for us to pull off. But we finally, I think we did we find a winner?
I think we've got one here.
Oh, boy.
Rob, Kendall, and I are happy to announce we will be attending the marriage and the reception of Natalie Sue Glidden and Bradley Paul Scheider.
Oh, how exciting.
Natalie and Brad.
How exciting for them.
Yep, Bradley Paul Scheidler and Natalie Sue Glidden. Rob, Kendall, and I are confirming we will be there. And I'll go in the back, and there's an official RSVP thing.
Right.
Like, here's a little card, but you can go to their website. We will be there, and we are just going to be debaucherous.
Yeah, absolutely. We're happy you're getting married. We're happy to be a part of your celebration. But, we're just there to have a good time.
Who do you think, whose idea was this? Was it Natalie's idea or was it Bradley's idea?
It could have been both.
Yeah.
We're both number one.
Okay.
So maybe it's both.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for the invite. Put us down. We will be there.
And thank you to everyone who sent us invites. And like I said, we tried to, obviously, you got stuff going on. I got stuff going on. And now I have to tell my wife I have this going on. Hammer agreed to drive. That's the only reason I agreed to go.
Well, that's going to work out nicely.
I got a much higher tolerance than Rob does, so I feel like I would probably be the best choice.
You could rope Kevin to be your designated driver. And
Kev.
Yeah. Maybe Kev could be there and film it, too. Because maybe, just maybe, Bradley and Natalie would want us to say something like a toast or something.
I could be like Steve Buscemi in The Wedding Singer.
Well, best man, the better man.
Newsflash, Bradley ain't so perfect.
Rob would never beat up his landlord. He's like, no, man, we'll bring a gift.
Yeah.
We'll dress to the nines.
Yeah.
We're going to be there.
You guys are going to be like Dumb and Dumber.
Speaking
Right.
of drinking, did I see something
Speaking
over there?
of gifts.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of drinking.
So our very popular podcast, The Degenerates Next Door.
Yeah.
I have hit 3 out of the last 4 degenerate specials.
Nice.
That's kind of the signature bet that I have on the show. It's stuff we used to do on the air, and now it's podcast exclusive for us. It's a low-level game that nobody cares about, but I spend so much time crunching the numbers. We've hit 75%.
Yeah.
So a listener who has been taking my advice on the degenerate special took some of his winnings and dropped off a bottle for me at the front desk, Rob. Please tell everybody what this is.
This is, and I'll hold it up here, the Indiana Whiskey Breakfast of Degenerates. Right there. There you can see that.
Of Degenerates.
Oh, I love that. And I love that they're giving back for all that we've done on the Degenerates Next Door Sports Betting Podcast, which you can get now wherever your podcasts are available. College Football Week 5, now available for your listening pleasure.
So clearly, when you guys win, everyone
Well, we like
wins.
this. Now I'm going to have to start trying harder.
Yeah.
I'm kind of winging it.
So this is whiskey with natural maple flavors. It's called Breakfast of Degenerates, and I'm proud to say we're going to make this the official whiskey of the Degenerates Next Door podcast.
Don't you have something coming out here soon, too?
Hammer and Nigel Tequila sometime in the next month or so.
Oh, how exciting.
All right, what are you guys drinking to?
To the Degenerate Special and the podcast that's out right now wherever you get podcasts.
All right, cheers. Bottoms up and down the hatch.
Dang, that's pretty good.
Yeah, smooth.
Just a little preview of what's going to happen at the marriage of Bradley and Natalie.
Rob, that's your 9th tequila shot.
You don't know me.
What's coming up today on the show, Hammer?
FOP President Rick Snyder will join us. The Tonus, Tony Kennett, will join us. Biggest stories in Indy, and we're going to have a lot of fun.
All right. Well, we thank you for stopping by. It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-444-9336. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-444-9336. That's 800-444-9336. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-444-9336.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and 1-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
If you used to hear a whole lot of this, but now you can barely hear this, you need to check out RelayIndiana.com and CapTel, the caption telephone. CapTel allows you to get your groove back when using the telephone. It uses voice recognition technology so you can read on a bright screen what the other caller is saying. Go to RelayIndiana.com and add clarity back into your conversations with CapTel, the caption telephone from Relay Indiana. Visit RelayIndiana.com now.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
When was the last time you practiced your home fire escape plan? Be sure everyone in your family knows what to do if there's a fire. Get out, stay out. It's your fire safe response.
Coming up in 2 minutes, an Indy cop who was just released from jail is back in the jailhouse now. Plus, more tornadoes, where they hit and how bad the damage was. And the Indianapolis Colts, who they're specifically preparing for ahead of their Week 4 home game. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers Studios after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WYBC, WYBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
A shooting, a hijacking, and a police chase in Los Angeles. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. Police say a man now in custody shot a bus passenger and forced the driver at gunpoint to keep going.
Los Angeles police say the hijacking of an MTA bus that resulted in the death of one of the people on board is still being investigated. It happened early Wednesday morning when police say they received calls about a man on board a bus with a gun. LAPD Commander Donald Graham says that person shot a passenger, then led officers on a chase for more than an hour.
Multiple spike strips were deployed in an attempt to stop the bus to initiate a rescue of people that were on the bus.
SWAT team members rescued the bus driver and another passenger who were unharmed. The person who was shot later died at the local hospital. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky tells the United Nations General Assembly Russia's President Putin has his military planning more attacks on power infrastructure, including nuclear power plants in Ukraine.
This is how Putin is preparing for winter, hoping to torment millions of Ukrainians.
He's urging UN leaders to support the fight against Russia and then real peace. Israel is sending reserve units to its northern border.
Israel's army says 2 reserve brigades are being sent to the north of the country for what it calls operational missions. It's been pounding the Lebanon-based militant group Hezbollah from the air for days, and there are indications of a potential ground war to push the Iran-backed fighters away from the border. Hundreds of thousands of Israelis are reservists called up from their day jobs for limited periods to aid the country's defence. The US is calling for a diplomatic solution and is concerned about a region-wide conflict. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
Tropical storm Helene is now Hurricane Helene, reaching hurricane strength. Forecasters say the entire west coast of Florida faces a possibly life-threatening storm surge when it makes landfall tomorrow. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Towing a thinner line. It's 66 and cloudy on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. A cop already in trouble with the law is back in jail again. Kamal Bola, who is on leave from Indy Metro Police, is accused of molesting a child. He was released from jail on bond last week, but on Tuesday, he was spotted near a children's school bus stop in Avon. He's now been arrested for violating a protection order. Other tornadoes hit Indiana on Tuesday, another one in northern Indiana counties.
Obviously, with the video, it was pretty rough looking, so we're going to have to go out today. We're sending out a couple survey teams.
Megan Dodson with the National Weather Service, who says that most of the damage is centered around LaGrange, Noble, and Steuben counties. At least 3 people were hurt. Guilty is the plea from a woman claiming to be Supermom in Muncie. Jake McDaniel reports.
Trisha K. Kavanaugh was sentenced to 14 years in prison for the death of her 4-month-old daughter after admitting to neglect of a dependent. She took drugs before breastfeeding her baby and falling asleep beside her, but she later died at the hospital. Child Services warned her in the past about the dangers of co-sleeping. Kavanaugh called herself a supermom during sentencing, and the judge was very doubtful. Jake McDaniel, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Ryan Cusack is a firefighter from Crown Point and is a member of Indiana's Task Force 1. He tells Wish TV that his dog Jake's job is to find people after any kind of natural disaster if there are survivors, especially ones who are too weak or trapped under debris, and Jake finds them.
And when he finds them, he starts to bark, and that's what alerts us to the presence of a victim so we can go and rescue them.
Indiana Task Force 1 left for Florida on Tuesday ahead of Hurricane Helene. The Pittsburgh Steelers are coming calling for the Indianapolis Colts this week, which means the Colts O-line will be getting a heavy dose of Steelers pass rusher TJ Watt.
We got to know where he's going to line up and how he's likely to align within their scheme.
sort of what his role's likely to be.
Colts offensive coordinator Jim Bob Cooter. Kickoff Sunday at 1 o'clock. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WYBC.com.
Hey, Mark Dietel is the only real estate expert I trust and recommend with the sale of my home. And how about Ray in Indianapolis? Ray needed to move in a hurry, so he was out the door into a new house, but left with the big problem of selling his old house with 2 mortgage payments fast approaching. Heard about Mark Dietel on our show, and he was the answer. He was ecstatic when Mark sold his home for the price they needed in just 2 days on the market.
Mark Dietel is the best, and what separates him from the competition is the guarantee. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. That is the Mark Dietel guarantee. You pick your move date, no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. Call Mark Dietel today, 755-4232. That's 317-755-4232, or go to markdietel.com. Mark Dietel, markdietel.com. Tell him Hammer and Nigel sent you.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Family Heating and Air, your American Standard air dealer in Indianapolis.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, September 25th, 5 minutes after 11 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So when Hammer was just joining us in the studio, Rob, you took a shot of whiskey.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm here.
Little heat?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. It's just one little shot, just a taste, just a whisper, right?
Yeah, it wasn't that strong.
Okay. And it was from Indiana Whiskey.
Yeah, that's right.
The Breakfast of Degenerates. On shelves now.
Support local.
Right. All right, let's talk about the Al Smith dinner. What is it and why is Kamala Harris skipping it? So the Smith dinner, it was first held in 1945, and it was to honor New York's former governor and the first Catholic presidential candidate, Al Smith. And it since became kind of a cornerstone, a political tradition, if you will. And since 1960, it served as one of the last opportunities where both candidates can appear together before the election, and they oftentimes kind of trade good-natured barbs at one another.
It is, yeah, it is an accepted norm that for basically one night, everybody puts their gloves down for a great cause, and it gets a lot of national publicity. So even if you don't actually care about the cause itself, it obviously all the national news networks pick it up, etc. And it's a really big deal with a lot of influential people in the audience, and it's always been this accepted thing that the candidates, now I don't think they did it in 2020 because of COVID, but it's always kind of been an accepted thing that the candidates get together and do this.
So Walter Mondale skipped it when he was running. But
how'd that work out?
Yeah, other than that, and as you mentioned, COVID, typically the candidates always appear at this.
Just a reminder, Reagan won 49 states. In 1984, Mondale won his home state of Minnesota. That's it.
So is this a trend? Well, just this week, Kamala Harris confirmed that she's going to skip the event. It's scheduled for October 17th. And it happens every 4 years. It's a white tie gala, and they raise money for Catholic charities. And let's just talk about those Catholic charities for just a second. They are the United States' second leading nonprofit in the country. And about 90%.
And a big voting block. You wouldn't think you'd want to make those people mad.
Well, you think 90% of all their revenue is spent on their programs and services, and it is often awarded as a top 4-star rating by Charity Navigator because they say the money goes to the program rather than the people running it.
But let's face it, these people are politicians, right? So the only thing they don't care about charity, they don't care about people, they just care about themselves. And so from a purely yourself standpoint, wow, what a large block, a voting block Catholics are. Obviously, in a state like Pennsylvania, it's potentially a huge difference maker that both sides desperately need. And what does it say about Kamala Harris that she recognizes, or they recognize, she's so incapable of thinking on her own, thinking on her feet, being able to be witty, being able to have comebacks, being remotely endearing to anyone, that you would potentially alienate this huge block of people by simply not attending the event.
Yeah. So Catholic Charities help about 7.1 million people every year. And like I mentioned, it's often stated as one of the most efficient charities in the country. But here's Cardinal Dolan on why Kamala Harris is skipping the Al Smith dinner.
We're disappointed. We were looking forward to giving the vice president an enthusiastic welcome. And we were confident that she would find this. You know, she speaks very much about the high ideals and how it's good to get away from division and come together in unity and all. Well, that's what the Al Smith dinner is all about. We haven't given up yet. We're not used to this. We don't know how to handle it. This hasn't happened in 40 years since Walter Mondale turned down the invitation. And remember, he lost 49 out of 50 states. I don't want to say there's a direct connection there. But so we're not used to this, and we're not giving up. You know who's been a help to us, Lauren, is Senator Schumer and Governor Hochul. They both are working hard to see that they convince her to come.
So there's still a chance.
Yeah, and Senator Schumer said to me, he said, I don't think she made the decision. I think her schedulers are saying she can't make it. So we're not giving up. We hope she's there.
Okay, now what does that tell you? He just said, Schumer said, I don't think she made the decision. I think her schedulers are saying she can't make it. So she wants to run the country, but yet isn't even making her own decisions on where she's going to be.
Well, and let's not act like these people that are the schedulers don't know the importance of this thing or the history. If they don't, that's an even bigger indictment. Mm-hmm. But they know. The issue that they have is she is totally incapable of thinking on her own. She's totally incapable of original thought, and they know in some sort of quasi unregulated environment with Donald Trump, where there's not a moderator to hop in and save her,
right,
and go into business for themselves, she's going to look like a complete buffoon,
mm-hmm,
and they don't want to subject her to that.
So speaking of Trump, he's going, and it shows that he's willing to engage in a broad spectrum of voters, right, including those who hold faith dear to them. And what does this say about her? Is this just another example of her disregard for traditional American values, especially when it comes to honoring faith-based events?
The bigger question is, so much of being the president is being able to think on your feet. It's being able to, in a moment's notice, whether you're faced with some crisis in the Oval Office or you're meeting with some foreign leader or whatever, is to exude strength, to exude confidence, to give, even if you don't know, right, give the perception that this person is really in control and can handle whatever situation is given to them. And the fact that they're so afraid to put her out there in front of Trump, what does that say how it's going to be when it's Putin or it's Kim Jong-un or, fill in your favorite
someone she's got to
play
hardball with.
Right, exactly. And so, we'll see. I mean, maybe they'll be able to convince her to do it. It's not the thing itself. It's just another example of how they are incapable or unwilling to put her out in front of the public because they think she's incapable of handling it.
Well, not only that, but it also shows that she's wanting to push her progressive agenda, and more so than acknowledging the moral foundations that guide millions of Americans in this country. Now, I wanted to play this next clip because I thought it kind of went along with the theme of this discussion. And this is from CNN, and it's Jim Acosta, and he's repeating that Kamala Harris has dropped 11% among Latino voters.
One of the things that we should note, and I don't know if we can show this number, I want to put this up on screen, Latino voters have moved away from Harris in Arizona. If you believe this New York Times poll, her lead has shrunk by 11 points in that voting bloc. She was at 60% in August, now 49% now.
Okay, so why play that in this conversation? Well, the largest religious group among Latinos in the United States is what? Catholic. Yeah.
But let's talk about that for a second, because that's an interesting detail. And we had talked about earlier in the show about the polling and how well Trump appears to be doing in multiple polls now in Arizona. And one of the mistakes that the Democrats have made, and it's taken a while for it to set in, is they have basically told the Hispanic population, we think you're so gullible and stupid, the only thing you'll care about is people coming into the country illegally. And if you're a citizen of this country, you're going, I did things the right way. Why would I be invested in letting people in who aren't going to take the time or effort to do the things that I did? I mean, and
it's a difficult, long process,
and
too.
It should be. And it's one of the things why people have said this for years, that even if you're born here, you should still have to pass a citizenship test. Like part of your schooling in order to go to the next grade at some point should be, or whatever. Because obviously if you're born here, et cetera, you become a U.S. citizen. That's not going to change. But you should have to master, we should have to master the same citizenship test that people who want to become, immigrants of this country, legal immigrants of this country, should have to pass. I mean, it's very basic. It's stuff anybody should know. But I bet a lot of people could not pass that test.
So some sort of civic literacy test.
Right, whether it's to say, hey, by the 8th grade or whatever, in order to go into high school, I'm just freewheeling here, you got to pass this test in order to go forward.
Yep. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. Let's talk really quick about how the Indianapolis City County Council approved a 57% pay bump. This for future mayors. So this won't take place until the end of Mayor Hogsett's current term, but the annual salary is going to jump from $95,000 to $150,000 beginning in 2028.
Okay, so they tried to give it to Hogsett.
Yeah,
Hogsett,
he said no
for political purposes.
Yeah.
Said no, I'm absolutely not giving myself that raise. But it is a reminder. So Vop Osley is basically giving himself his next raise, because everybody believes Vop Osley, runs the show over there with the City County Council, is going to run for mayor. He's likely the front runner in the clubhouse. Of course, the Republicans will put up some worthless candidate.
They're MIA.
Who'll get 7% of the vote, so he's going to be the next mayor. So he's basically voting on a massive pay raise for his future self. But potentially. And what is, again, it's another example, though. So what was the number? It went from what to what?
95 to 150.
So nobody's asking for this pay raise. It's a $55,000 pay raise. By the way, they're giving other people pay raises as well as a part of this.
The auditor and the assessor, they're going to receive increases ranging from 40% to 215% starting next year. And keep in mind that assessor, that's the guy who's in charge of your property taxes.
That's correct.
Right?
So it comes back. Thank you. So you're coming to my point here, which is it's this laughable argument that unless you just keep giving gobs and gobs of money to these people, that no one will run, as though nobody has any civic pride or anything left in them whatsoever, that they would only. When I ran and won, I didn't even know I got paid. Like I remember being told you get paid, and it was like, what? You get paid?
You did it for service.
And I remember like people fighting with me over wanting raises, and I said, we will never get raises as long as I'm running the show, because we already get paid too much as it is once I found out what we got paid. And I said, this should be about civic responsibility or obligation to the community. And it's one of the reasons I get so angry about these people getting paid who don't show up to meetings, because your job is to work for the taxpayers, and in no other job, if you don't show up, do you still get paid? But think about how much money. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars annually now. The city of Indianapolis is allocating to people on what the whim or theory that again are you indicting the people there that they're doing such a bad job? You got to pay people more money. I mean, that's laughable, first of all. But second of all, there's no money to help you with property taxes. These local governments are totally starved for resources, and yet they just found hundreds of thousands of dollars to give to elected office holders.
The money tree. Isn't that magical and fantastic for them? You probably
ridiculous.
Wouldn't scoff at a 214% pay raise, would you?
I tried to, when I got elected, I said, well, we should cut our pay to zero. And then I found out there's actually a state law. There was. I assume there still is. You can actually not cut your pay as an elected official more than back to where it was the previous year.
Okay.
And the reason they gave me for that, because I was like, well, what if I wanted to make our pay zero? They're like, you can't do that. I said, why not? They said, the reason on that is so that way, and this actually kind of makes sense. On the way out the door, if somebody lost an election, they couldn't punish the guy that's coming.
Stick it to the guy,
right.
to the one coming in.
That's too
it's
bad.
not just in Indianapolis, though. This is happening at the state level as well. And Holcomb's successor will become one of the highest paid governors in the nation. Some other offices are going to see raises between 44% and 66%. Another office who potentially will get this pay raise come November is the Attorney General.
Oh, yeah. All these statewide office holders are getting huge, massive, like tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, again, it's another example. The state's going to tell you there's no money to help with roads without raising taxes. There's no money to help you with property taxes. And yet they find all of this money. They found it couple years ago for themselves in the General Assembly, and now they found it for these states. There's always money for everybody, but you ever notice that? There's
No money for you, money for them.
There's always money for everybody but you, Casey.
Yeah, I know. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
It's been a long slog.
Donald Trump is an unserious man.
Kamala was a total disaster.
Now, there are less than 6 weeks to go.
I am running to be president.
I accept your nomination.
The choice is in sight.
If we win Pennsylvania, we win the whole thing.
And it's not going to get any more polite.
Spewing lies.
A communist known as Kamala Harris.
We'll follow it all to the finish on your 2024 election information station, 93 WIBC.
Howdy, listener land. It's Rob from my friends at Universal Windows Direct. You know, winter is right around the corner, and now would be a great time to get those windows in your home updated to have a warmer experience over the next couple months. And Universal Windows Direct has a great deal going on right now. Call today, 317-659-7574, 317-659-7574. And for every 2 windows you buy, you're going to get the next 2 free. There's no limit on that. Plus, 0% financing for 36 months. It's 3 years. Now, some restrictions apply. So to get all the details, call today, Universal Windows Direct, 317-659-7574. And when you do call, tell them Rob Kendall from WIBC told me to call. They're going to take $250 off your project just for saying that. You can see Universal Windows Direct's work on the web, uwd.com, uwd.com. Call them today, 317-659-7574, and tell them Rob sent you.
There's no substitute for experience, and that's especially true when we're talking about teenagers learning to drive. You teach them the basics, but what about those things drivers don't encounter every day? Hey, I'm Matt Bear, here to tell you about Rule the Road, Indiana. It's a hands-on experience at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway just for teenage drivers that provides practical knowledge and skills that go beyond regular driver education programs. So, for instance, a controlled braking course and evasive maneuvering course where young drivers learn how to maintain control while avoiding collisions. It is taught by police officers and professional driving instructors. Saturday, September 28th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and it's free. All you need to do is sign up at ruletheroadindiana.com. Lunch is provided, and American medal-winning swimmer Ryan Murphy and IndyCar driver Stingray Robb and defending 2-time Indy 500 champ Joseph Newgarden will be on hand signing autographs. Rule the Road, Indiana, brought to you free by Alliance Highway Safety, September 28th at IMS. Register now at ruletheroadindiana.com.
Moments like hearing my cat purr good morning mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib. Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
You need better water, really. Why don't you call C&J Water today for a free water analysis and see why you need better water? When you do, you'll get a 10% discount on all C&J Water products to improve your water quality today. For better skin and hair, you don't need a different shampoo, detergent, or lotion. You need better water. Now's a great time to upgrade. Call C&J Water for great systems and great people too. 317-733-SOFT. That's 317-733-SOFT.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shaveland, or DrexelIN.com.
So November 15th is officially the start of hunting season in many states. It's also my anniversary.
What day?
November 15th.
Oh.
However,
is Jim taking you somewhere nice to go hunting?
I'm putting this out there right now.
Uh-huh.
We're not going to be watching this fight, this Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight.
Why not? Is it on Netflix?
What
or is
channel
it pay-per-view?
It's pay-per-view.
Oh, it's pay-per-view?
Yeah,
Okay.
like all Mike Tyson fights. So here's the deal. It's Mike Tyson, and he's fighting YouTuber Jake Paul.
Yeah. Have you seen the photos of Jake Paul lately? He's like super fat.
Is he?
I mean, he bulked up. Obviously, Mike Tyson's a heavyweight.
So, Mike Tyson, 58 years old, right? And even if Jake Paul's put on a few pounds, he's 27, right?
Looks like it is on Netflix.
It's not, okay.
It is on
You
Netflix.
still got to pay for it.
Well, I mean, not if you have Netflix, right?
That's true. That's true.
I mean, the videos of Jake Paul that are out there, this is, by the way, it is such a sad state that boxing is in, that this is the most anticipated fight in boxing probably since, I'm trying to think. Floyd Mayweather, when he fought, that was a fight several years ago, 10 years ago now.
Was it Manny Pacquiao?
Pacquiao, thank you. Yes, where he had literally, I remember paying $25 to get into Kilroy's to watch that fight, and you had to get there like 9 hours early. There were so many people that had limited seating, and that was a brilliant marketing ploy, because then you just sat there and drank for 9 hours before the thing even started. You couldn't leave.
And then, and it's always like the title card fight, right?
Yeah.
So you have to wait all night
That's
for
what I'm
it,
saying. I
and
mean,
then it's not even on till like after midnight.
I was there at least 12 hours. I hate to think what I spent that day to watch that. And the fight was totally underwhelming. Pacquiao got hurt early in the fight. And then it went the distance, but it was totally non-contested. That was 2015. This is probably the most hyped fight since then. And that's pathetic. It's a 50-whatever-year-old guy and a YouTuber.
58-year-old.
Is he 58? Wow.
Yeah.
58 and this YouTuber guy, and that's how sad a state boxing is in now.
So do you think that this is actually a fight, or is this just a bizarre spectacle in the making?
I think Tyson will
An
kill.
explosion
I think
waiting to
Tyson will
happen.
kill him if he gets a chance.
You think so?
Because Paul's super mouthy, and I get that some of it's show, but I think Mike Tyson, this is going to be the swan song for him. And I'd kind of thought Paul was going to be the heavy favorite because he's younger, he's lighter, he's able to move better. He looks like a blimp in these videos of himself bulking up. I mean, Kev, see if you can pull up a new photo of Paul and see what he looks like. I mean, you'll see he looks like he's big as a house.
He's got a big beard.
That's what I'm saying.
And
he looks like Butterbean.
He looks. He doesn't really look fat. He just looks like
doughy.
Yeah, looks doughy. He looks thick,
comfortable. Well, you know what, Paul, maybe younger, but as soon as the instincts kick in for Mike Tyson,
well,
it's like muscle memory, right?
You do wonder at 58 years old how long the guy can actually go, but you still recognize, and you've seen these videos of him working out with one punch. He can still totally. So you're gonna deny your man the ability to watch this, who loves sports. You're gonna deny him.
I won't deny him, because chances are it'll happen really late at night, and the fun and everything frivolity will be over with by then. But Mike Tyson said that he's looking to anyone or anything to help him get ready for this fight, and that includes drugs.
I really want you to beat this guy. I'm thinking about betting a lot of money on you. Are you training hard?
I'm training extremely hard, yeah.
How many hours a day?
I start at 11.
11 a.m.?
No, yeah, 11 in the morning.
Oh, no.
I start at 11, and I might leave the gym at 5. Well, it's a small break after I finish doing my boxing. I get a massage for an hour.
Oh, no.
And then I go back. Then I go right into strength and conditioning.
Will you be high on marijuana as well?
That's a possibility, too.
It is a possibility. See, now my bet's getting lower as we talk.
Not only marijuana, but he also said that he might be doing shrooms during the fight.
Okay, so the odds currently on this fight, Paul is minus 320. That's a pretty heavy favorite over Tyson. He's plus 240. So basically what that means is to win $100 on Jake Paul, you'd have to bet 320. You'd have to risk 320 to win 100. Tyson at plus 240 means for every $100 you bet, you would get $240. So Tyson's a heavy underdog. However, it started at minus 500 for Paul, and Tyson was plus 325. So money has, in a pretty heavy fashion, come in on Tyson since the opening line was set.
Is this something that you would place a bet on?
Well,
No.
Duh.
Yeah.
Is
small.
Yeah. I mean, look, Paul should win this fight. I mean, he's so much younger, and even though he looks like a house at this point,
I'm seeing the video of him bench pressing. He does have a big gut.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's kind of an odd.
Yeah, it looks like he's pregnant.
I mean, he does. He looks morbidly obese, and I mean, clearly he knows what he's doing. But there was like some video of him eating a bucket of KFC chicken, and
But do you think Tyson? He's got to stay healthy. He's got ulcers.
Yeah.
All Paul has to do
Haven't
is
you-
punch him once in the gut, and he's going down.
Here's what I learned from George Foreman. I remember I used to
How to grill?
when I was a kid. I don't want to say 94 or 95, whenever this was. I remember through this, we used to get HBO. We didn't pay for it, but we would get it.
Magically.
And I can remember staying up late that night in the living room. My parents were in bed. I can remember watching George Foreman at 9 million years old knock out Michael Moore and win the heavyweight championship. I mean, George Foreman was like in his mid-40s, and Michael Moore was the heavyweight champion of the world. I remember seeing that and just like looking at that going, am I dream? Like, did I just see this 10, 11 years old, whatever I was? It takes one punch, right? I mean, this guy should win. If it goes any length of time, he should win. But Mike Tyson is still a dangerous dude, man.
It's still Mike Tyson. He's still got the biceps.
I got to bet on Tyson, right? I mean, the 10-year-old version of me, I can't bet against Mike Tyson.
No, you cannot. You cannot. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Where more hit the state. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Tornadoes hit parts of northern Indiana on Tuesday. Investigators are getting some help from storm chaser videos, says Megan Dodson with the National Weather Service.
It's a little bit easier when you have a video. Because that kind of rules out was it straight line winds or a tornado? And so you can go right to how strong was the tornado.
A few people hurt in the storms affected areas in Noble, LaGrange, and Steuben counties. Helene is now a hurricane and is heading north towards the Florida west coast. That's where Indiana's Task Force 1 is headed.
We're there to, assist the locals with any needs. They're most likely going to be overwhelmed with the storm surge and the storm coming through.
Jay Settergren with the squad. FEMA preemptively activating the squad on Tuesday. It's expected to be a Category 4 hurricane. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369. 800-525-9369.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Indiana Foundation Service. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at indianafoundation.com.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Sweet chocolate reward. Sweet chocolate reward.
This is not just the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat at Walgreens. This is the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat right after receiving all their vaccines in one trip. This is the sound of treating yourself, because you protected yourself.
Stop by or schedule both your flu and COVID-19 vaccines today and grab yourself a sweet treat while you're at it. Vaccine subject to availability. State, age, and health-related restrictions may apply.
If you've ever put off dealing with plumbing problems, you don't have to live that way. Maybe you tried to fix a leaky faucet yourself, or you're wishing that slow drain is going to magically start flowing again. Well, it's not. Stop putting things off and call Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing. They'll give you honest advice at a fair price, and they leave your home even better than they found it. That's ldsmithplumbing.com. And tell them your second favorite plumber in the whole world, Denny Smith, sent you. ldsmithplumbing.com.
Your Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Ready for some high-energy excitement and fun? Head to Jonesboro, Indiana, September 26th through 29th for the Jonesboro River Rally. Amazing stunt bike riders, a cool bike show, fun field events, cool light show, and rockin' live bands all weekend long. Get details at showmegrantcounty.com. Grant County, Indiana. Classic cool.
Indiana adventure is near. Come to Grant County this year.
Have you lost Indiana Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
We have the best technicians in the business here at Family. They'll take care of you every time. 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
The interesting thing about Heather Locklear, Rob, is that the hair that she had when she was young and started on the scene is the style that's popular again.
Oh.
Parted down the middle and layered and feathered back. Heather Locklear turning, would you say, 63 today?
It's her birthday. She's 63. Now, she is a Catwoman at this point. Like, she's got all the stretching and the shooting and the stuff that goes on that makes a beautiful person. For some reason, people do this to themselves.
You're talking about, like, Botox and
Yeah, I
things
mean,
like
like
that?
just like Google a photo of Heather Locklear, and like she just doesn't. I mean, look, here's the deal, and this is I get that this is harder for women than men because women are judged more by their appearances.
Mm-hmm.
It is not natural to be 63 years old
And
not
have zero wrinkles?
Right, Nancy Pelosi, hello. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, Biden, any of these people. It's like, who are you? People age, right? I age, you age, Kev age, everybody ages. Just like it's a part of life. And these celebrities get so obsessed that it's like, it looks freaky to me. Like, it looks freaky to me. They look like cat people when the eyebrows don't match up. And like, I mean, it's like, come on. Who are you fooling at this
You'd
point?
rather see her au naturel.
Well, I just
with
don't.
all the work done.
I don't care. She's a 63-year-old woman. Good, people age, right? I mean, you get older. Some people are better assembled than others. Some people live longer. Some people have better. Like, it's just laughable to me that people to this extreme. And I don't know how any of it works. I've never had any of this stuff. But there's got to be some level of like moderation that Biden and Pelosi and Heather Locklear have not figured out because they look like plastic people.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that you like my laugh lines. That's what I'm taking from this conversation.
You look like a well-preserved
age.
person for your age, right? I mean, it's like I'm 40 years old. I don't look the same as I looked when I was 20. No, people don't.
And you're not supposed to.
There's
either.
there's some people like we talked about, like these age in reverse people like Tom Brady, who I'm sure he's had some work. But
oh yeah, I think so.
But he doesn't. You can't tell it, right? Like, he's clearly not just shooting his face full of crap. He's clearly doing something. John Stamos is another one who's kind of still reasonably. Rob Lowe. I mean, they've clearly had work, but they're not. They don't look like cat humans.
Yeah. Did you see how she came out and was talking about her first and only date that she had with Tom Cruise? They went on a date when they were younger. This was during his risky business years, and she was turned off by his dancing. She says she's a rock and roll girl, and her style, it just didn't match Tom Cruise's. Can you imagine you're going on a date with Tom Cruise and the, gigantic movie star that he becomes, and when you're younger, you're like, nah, I'm good.
Well, what's interesting is I heard this story years ago. So Sean Salisbury, who is he's a football commentator now, but he was a very famous college football player. he went on a date with her in college when he was at USC, and he tells this story about she was a very down-to-earth person and was like a very nice human being, and like just totally, I mean, I think that was before she had achieved mega stardom that she later would, but yeah, I mean, by all accounts, she was a pretty decent person when she was younger. Now, then she was married to Tommy Lee, and then she was married to Richie Sambora.
Yeah.
And she
rock and roll girl, like she says.
Well, she had a type, and I think she had one child with Richie Sambora, and then clearly she got down like Pam Anderson and the rest of those women down that rock and roll rabbit hole, and she had severe addiction problems, and she was, I believe, arrested on multiple occasions, and just had all sorts of problems. And, one of those people is probably very lucky to be alive.
So she claims that when they went on their date, he was doing dance moves that you saw in Risky Business, where he slides down on his knees. And this happened actually before the movie came out. So maybe he was just testing it out for what was going to be in the movie. But they met each other at an audition, and neither one of them actually ended up getting the part that they were trying out for.
Now, she's one of these people because she's had no major accomplishment in terms of her acting career. Like, she's not Cindy Crawford, right? She's not, who was the one that was married to Billy Joel?
Christy Brinkley.
Christy Brinkley, thank you. Like, she was not some box office juggernaut. She was on Melrose Place, she was
on Dynasty and Melrose Place.
But those are cast-oriented shows, right?
She wasn't the breakout star.
She's kind of famous for just being famous, right? I mean, there's
who she was married to.
Well, right. I mean, she obviously was a very well-assembled human being during her prime years.
She was billed as a special guest star for a lot of Melrose Place. Like, she wasn't even in the
that's what I'm saying.
credits. She was like and also
she
starring.
wasn't some great actress or whatever. She's just kind of a very well-assembled person who lived a very lavish and rock and roll lifestyle, and then kind of the thing just snowballs itself, and now Heather Locklear's here, and it's like, well,
was she ever in a pictorial?
I don't think she did Playboy or no, I don't think she. No, I don't think
catalog,
she ever did
anything like that.
No.
Unlike so.
Here's the overarching advice though on this.
Yeah.
If you're getting old, just get old. Like, just don't. Come on, right?
Let it go.
If you need
take
more,
care of yourself, but you don't need all that stuff.
The face cream and stuff, all fine, but it's like once you start injecting things, I just
lip injections and Botox, and
some
fillers.
Some of it in moderation, I suppose, is okay, but it's like it comes to a point where you look ridiculous at that age.
You expect a wrinkle here and there on somebody who's 63. Okay. Hey, Abdul's going to join us next, right?
Yeah, he's doing his own polling. We're in the throes of that. That should be coming out very soon. We'll talk about how you kind of try to create a poll that has reasonable results that resemble the election. And, we'll talk about how Destiny Wells was the big loser in the feud with me.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Tonight on the Tony Kinnecast, crime is up, crime is down. Actually, no, wait, it's steady. Illegal immigration is good and good and bad again. Are you dizzy yet? Good, because we just adjusted our own job numbers yet again. Tune in at 7 p.m. right here on the Daily Signals YouTube and X live streams or the podcast anytime.
Cindy Carrasco has spent a career holding the powerful accountable. As Indiana's Inspector General and Director of the State Ethics Commission, Cindy fought waste, fraud, and abuse wherever she found it. Cindy also combated wrongdoing in state government, which meant standing up and doing the right thing even if it wasn't popular. Now, as our state senator, Cindy Carrasco continues to fight on behalf of all Hoosiers by improving the quality of our children's education, providing tax relief for everyone, and working to make our communities safe by getting law enforcement the resources they need to fight crime, violence, and keep fentanyl away from our families. It's why Cindy has been endorsed by the Indiana Fraternal Order of Police, State Police Alliance, and the Professional Firefighters of Indiana. Because they know that Cindy has their back, and we know she has ours. Vote for more government transparency, better schools, lower taxes, and safer streets. Vote Cindy Carrasco for State Senate.
Paid for by Cindy First Senate.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
Denny Smith for Sundown Gardens. The nursery's filled with great fall selections, so shop now and save 20 to 50% off trees and shrubs at Sundown Gardens. Fall is just a great time to plant, and it'll establish roots for next year's growth. The friendly staff can help you make all the right selections. Visit the Garden Center for all these great things for fall. Mums, pumpkins, fall decor, and more still on full display. 20 to 50% off trees and shrubs and 50% off pottery at Sundown Gardens. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Sweet chocolate reward. Sweet chocolate reward.
This is not just the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat at Walgreens. This is the sound of someone picking up a sweet treat right after receiving all their vaccines in one trip. This is the sound of treating yourself, because you protected yourself.
Stop by or schedule both your flu and COVID-19 vaccines today and grab yourself a sweet treat while you're at it. Vaccine subject to availability. State, age, and health-related restrictions may apply.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Never miss your favorite shows on WIPC. Get your content to go.
Would you like fries with that?
Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kennett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, he's not happy with the polling results. He's going to get some results of his own. How about that for an intro? It's Kendall Casey Show. I'm Rob Casey's here. Look who it is. He's an author. He's a broadcaster. He's an attorney at law, the owner and operator of IndyPolitics.org. Abdul-Hakim Shabazz, hello.
Hello, my friend. How's it going?
It's going well. So let's start with the fact that you are in the throes of doing your own polling. We've seen one poll from the Democrats, which we kind of agree. Well, that poll's a giant pile of crap, right? I mean,
even some of the Democrats didn't believe the poll.
Yeah, what do they call it? Like a push poll type of thing?
I call it more of a nudge poll.
Yeah, that showed the race being close. Nobody believed that. Then Emerson came out, which is a respected polling firm on behalf of CBS 4, Fox 59, said, hey, we're doing our own polling, showed the races where they normally are, Republicans up 10 to 13-ish points in all these statewide races, and you said, well, I'm never one to shy away from free publicity. I'm going to make other people pay for my own poll.
Well, it wasn't free publicity.
Well, it was for you.
I'll tell you that.
What? I don't think I've ever, in all the years I've known you, ever seen you even pull out your wallet. Much less for something as expensive as a poll.
We decided to do some polling. We did polling this past spring in the Republican primary. We're pretty much right on the money. And we weren't going to do any polling in the fall because we figured, hey, this is pretty much done, over with, blah, 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 things should be fine. Until Donald Trump being at the top of the ticket and Micah Beckwith winning the lieutenant governor's nomination this past summer, the question was, where do those sort of Nikki Haley, non-Micah Beckwith Republicans go? Do they stay home? Do they vote Jennifer McCormick? Do they just skip the race altogether? And so I got together with my pollsters, like, you know what? Let's look at it from that perspective. Where do those quote-unquote never-Trumpers go? And then also, too, as we were sort of putting the questions together, I had a enhanced moment of clarity in my backyard.
Oh, sure you did.
Every once in a while, I'll just go in the backyard and have an enhanced moment of clarity just to clear my head, and some of my best work has been done that way.
Absolutely.
Same with Taylor Coleridge.
I actually saw you doing a television interview for some station in Kentucky the other day. You just popped up in my feed about our old pal, Dishonest Gabe, and the troubles that he's in. And you were in your backyard, and I said, that son of a gun. I know what he's doing back there.
Actually, no, I was just having coffee that morning. But what was interesting, though, with that whole thing was, it's like, no, let's look at that issue, but also let's look at the impact of straight ticket voting. Because I haven't seen any poll in the past 20 years here in Indiana where ever sort of measured straight ticket voting. So,
so what you're saying is you want to know how many people actually just walk at their, press a button, say I'm voting straight Republican or straight Democrat.
Yeah, and then also, then we asked if you were going to vote straight ticket, do you plan to scratch? That's when you have a list of like eight campaigns vote straight ticket Republican. But say in one race you like the Democrat, so you vote for the Democrat.
You and I agree straight ticket voting should be eliminated.
Yes, you should have to. My opinion is this: you should have to go through every race.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to vote for everybody, but at the very least, look at the candidates.
Yeah.
And by the way, eliminating straight ticket voting does not, take away your choices. And I always love that. Well, I want to vote straight ticket. Well, you can't. You just have to go through each one as opposed to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it'll take you like an extra 30 seconds to non-straight ticket vote than if you're straight ticket voting.
Yeah, and the Republicans in Indiana, now other states are different, they want this because most people straight ticket vote Republican, so it really helps them run up the score.
Particularly outside of Indiana, outside of central Indiana.
Right.
In the rural counties, straight ticket voting. But also remind people, too, in the rural counties, a lot of times there is no Democrat on the ballot.
Right.
So what do you need to straight ticket vote for?
Yeah.
So once again.
Right. So you're asking that. You're asking about the statewide races. Any other questions? I mean, you are in the middle of this. It should be done, tomorrow maybe?
Yeah, we should be done. Today's our last day of polling. So we should be done this evening. I'll start getting the results back Thursday. We go through them all on Friday. And then I'll start releasing them a week from Monday. However, if you're a Cheat Sheet subscriber, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Which you can find at indiepolitics.org.
We're going to have sort of a polling preview of the results released that Sunday the day before.
Now, my question to you, and I've heard this from many people, is your primary poll this past year that was pretty accurate. Braun was way ahead. There were a bunch of undecideds. They broke for Braun, whatever. People will say, though, in 2022, your pollster, not you, you're not the guy doing the poll, you just pay somebody to do the poll, had this poll that came out that showed, Diego and Destiny Wells are in this super close race for Secretary of State, and then the race ended up being a blowout. Do you go back to the pollster after that and go, because if you go to the fast food place and they get your order wrong, hey, I want my food fixed, or I want my money back, or what, do you get any recourse? Is there any Better Business Bureau you can call when the pollster is wrong?
Well, but the thing is, when people criticize me for that, I argue you're operating from the wrong premise.
Well, I don't think we're criticizing you. You didn't do the poll.
No, me, the poll, we're basically the same thing. But I like you look at it.
I am the poll.
Yeah, I am the poll. The poll is me. And by the way, I may not always be right, but I'm never wrong.
Oh,
that's
very good for you.
That's a second tenet. The thing is, polls are not predictions. They're snapshots in time. The poll did not predict that Destiny Wells was going to win or Diego Morales was going to lose. The poll just said, hey, today, when we did our poll, these are what the results were.
Yeah.
That's kind of point number one. Point number two that people have to remember is a poll is just part of a political campaign. You still got to work. You still got to spend the money. You still got to do the door knocking and the grassroots and the advertising. And Destiny Wells did not spend money in those rural areas, in those television markets. She just basically focused her attention on central Indiana.
And that's the laughable thing about her, because these people just were over the moon about, she did so well in Carmel. She's not running for mayor of Carmel. Right. She wants to win Carmel, go run for city council in Carmel. You run for statewide office, and you got your brains beat in everywhere that wasn't, like 3 or 4 pockets of the entire state.
Right, because one thing they didn't do was they didn't spend money and campaign in places where they should have, because you can't just win the state of Indiana by just winning Marion and Hamilton County alone.
Yeah, and the Democrats have got to get some sort of unified message with these candidates, because you're right, they don't have the money. Like, Braun has more money by himself than the entire Democrat Party. You got to have some sort of team concept here. Like, we're all running on the same playbook, right? We're all running on the same things, the same messaging to utilize those resources, and they don't do that.
No, and you got to have when Howard Dean ran ran the Democratic campaign back in 2016, it's something that was brilliant. He ran somebody everywhere.
Yeah,
but he said we're going to run people who fit the district.
Right.
So if someone say, maybe pro-Second Amendment, we'll get a pro-Second Amendment Democrat.
2008, I think, was the year when Obama won.
Yeah. If somebody's pro-life, we're going to get a pro-life Democrat.
Right.
We're going to find people who meet the criteria of the district. That's how you win.
And that brings me, we got into this with Merritt earlier in the show as we wrap up our time here together. This article that Briggs had in Indy Star about the little spat between me and on-demand abortion advocate Destiny Wells about how he's saying to the Democrat Party, you are so beholden to crazy people who want no limits on abortion that we don't even know what your opinion on abortion is because you won't tell. And your opinion on abortion might actually be way more mainstream than the people you're catering to. And then when you allow the Rob Kendalls of the world to define you because you won't define yourself because you're beholden to crazy people, you're going to lose that argument.
I'll make the same statement here I made on State House Happenings this week. Nature hates a vacuum. And when you don't respond and don't give an answer, guess what? The other person wins. So, Rob Kendall, congratulations.
Thank you.
You're a Cubs fan. You win by default.
I'm 2 for 2, baby. I won on property taxes, and now I'm winning on abortion. Abdullah Gib Shabazz. Find him at indypolitics.org. Get that cheat sheet subscription. We'll look forward to hearing the poll. Maybe we'll have you on later this week once the poll comes out.
Yeah, and property taxes, we'll talk about that.
Oh, how exciting. It's Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC. It's going to do it for us today. Great job, Casey. Great job, Kevin. Thank you to you, the listener. You're the most important part of the equation. Without you, there is no us.